But do you trust people like that? Like, okay, none of us are at that any point.
Closet masturbators? No, not typically.
No, not particularly.
Without belts around their neck?
Having, like, I wouldn't want people randomly in my house like that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we're never at that level.
Well, yeah, Joe. He's gonna masturbate in your closet. Of course you don't want him in your house.
He's saying it like it's a controversial take.
I know you guys would typically want him over for dinner, but me, call me wacky. I don't want this guy in my home. Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, the show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate it and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about Party Down. Party Down went 26 episodes with 3 seasons on Starz. Today we're talking about episode 1, which is called Willow Canyon Homeowners Annual Party, originally airing March 20th, 2009. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me, as always, the boys, Nick, Berg, Joe, and Gordo. What's going on, guys?
Hey-o.
Yo.
You're...
You stained me like Shakespeare said, thou doth.
No, wrong one, Joe. You were supposed to say, put your clothes on, Gordon. No one wants to see your penis.
Yeah.
No one.
I was laughing so hard about that. I was like, we're going to bring that up and everyone's just going to be like, Gordo, how many times have you heard that actually said to you in your life?
0.
So, could this show have been on a worse network?
Starz?
This is
Yeah.
the shame of this show.
Is this our first Starz show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until it got brought back, I didn't know the show existed, and then I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
So
But
I
it's
think
just
we're definitely going to talk about that as we go along, but this is definitely a victim of good
Starz.
show, bad network for the show.
Same thing happened to Ash vs. the Evil Dead. No one could watch it.
Right.
'cause
When you look at
nobody
this
has
cast
stars.
and everything that's involved in it, it's like, I always bring this back to Cobra Kai on YouTube Red or whatever it was back then versus Cobra Kai when it moved to Netflix.
This is one of those shows that I found out about a little after it happened, and every single person, like every roommate I ever had this on DVD.
Yeah.
So you could never see it on Starz, but it was always there. So I've probably seen the first 2 seasons of this until the new one at least 10 times all the way through. But it was never on Starz. I've never had Starz. I've had every streaming channel you could possibly have, including weird ones. Like we talked about that weird NBC comedy one that existed for like 2 months or whatever. Starz has never... I'm waiting for it to just get bundled into another one.
I had stars. It was part of one of the packages I had. I had everything, but like I'd never watched it. They had good movies too and series.
Was Encore part of Starz?
No, Encore was its own.
Encore was its own? Okay.
For the taste and more, it's Encore.
I can't finish all this food. What the fuck are we gonna do?
Sweet Al's family.
I've neve heard. I've heard of this show.
Crusher doesn't have any family.
I've heard of this show. I've never seen it though.
Party Down was a show that I had not seen, had heard about it a million times. It was one of those, oh, you never saw it. In my head, I like 2009, I thought the show was like older because when you look at the cast, and like I know a lot of them really got more popular after the fact, but they weren't all relative no names that hit later. They were all kind of actively working by the time this came out.
Everyone did get much larger.
They all
though.
peaked after this, but this wasn't like Freaks and Geeks where you look back at it and go, what the fuck? Like,
Right, yeah. No, this was people still actively working. Like, you knew who everybody was when you watched this. Like, if you'd watched The State and, you'd seen all these different TV shows and movies all these people were in. Mean Girls. Speaking of which, there's a Mean Girls fucking musical coming out? What is happening?
I saw that, yeah.
I not necessarily would have known who Alan Scott was back then. I think the first time I ever remember
Adam
seeing
Scott?
him. Yeah, what did I say?
Thought you said Alan, but
Me too. I was
I-
like,
I
was there a
did say
cast where I
Alan.
missed?
So Alan Scott is the original Green Lantern. Adam Scott is what I meant. But
nerd alert,
First-
nerd alert, nerd alert.
first time I remember seeing him was in Step Brothers.
Yeah, I think that's my first introduction to him.
Well, he was Step Brothers before or after Parks and Rec, though?
Before, I think.
Yeah, it
Don't
was
quote
before.
me though.
Was it before?
'Cause Parks and
That whole
Rec
time
was
is
a
just a
role-
blur.
Adam Scott took the role after season 2 of this show.
Oh,
when they
okay.
weren't
Because
sure
he
if they
comes
were
in
gonna
like
get season
season
3
3 of Parks and Rec.
And also should be mentioned that there is a 10 plus year gap between season 2 and season 3 of this show.
Right, yeah.
So when I say
season
there's
3
3
just
seasons,
happened.
it's more like reboot.
Oh, okay.
And
Didn't they
not
just
to-
reboot this?
like this year? Yeah.
That's the third season. It was a 6-episode, like, kind of mini-series third season
Okay.
where, like, almost the entire cast came back, all except one, basically.
And it changes too by the second season because you swap out
Megan Mullally joins, right?
Megan Mullally joins and Jennifer Coolidge joins, and you lose from fucking Glee. What's her name?
Oh, she's not in season 2?
Jane Lynch?
She's in the very last episode because they like re-go to her character's
She was
wedding.
my favorite part of the show.
She's
Jane
great.
Lynch?
No, she's great in it. Yeah, but like it's one of those shows that like that when people who are so funny on it leave, they replace them with people who are equally funny, so the show doesn't feel like it's losing anything. I think the second season is just as funny as the first, and it's super different.
She's another one. I know her
Jane Lynch,
from-
by the way.
Jane Lynch,
Lynch.
thank you, Jane Lynch. Star of
Jane
The
Lynch,
Fugitive.
I know from 40-Year-Old Virgin originally, and then
She's the best.
Role Models.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those things. This is one of those shows, too, that, like, you start putting all the dots start connecting when you see
Yeah.
this show, and you start realizing how many connections they all have to one another. Like Paul Rudd is one of the creators of this show.
Yeah.
You know what I don't know, like, did you see the director? Like, how,
Yeah,
that-
Fred Savage.
Fred Savage.
Yeah, Fred
just
Savage
real
directed
last
this.
second. Oh, by the way, Fred Savage directed. I think he directed a bunch of them. Maybe
He
not.
directed a lot of stuff.
Like maybe all of them actually.
And
but
one of the other creators of the show, Rob Thomas, not Matchbox 20 Rob Thomas.
Smooth.
Not Sinbad's roommate and Always Sunny.
No, it's he did what was it? A popular show. Veronica Mars.
Veronica
Oh,
Mars.
with
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Gordon, who's in this episode, he's like one of the main stars of Veronica Mars.
what else is he from? It's just that was one of the things I could have looked up, but I wanted to
Well,
bring
I'll
it up
tell
here.
you this. He reminded me of Dax Shepard, and I kept thinking it was him, and it's not.
The guy who
am I
plays
Gordon?
Kyle.
No,
blonde
Gordon, the naked
bald
guy
guy.
who jumps in the pool.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, he's the guy from Just Shoot Me.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes, that's
That's
what
what I
it is.
know him
Okay.
most for. As soon as I saw him, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
it's the Just Shoot Me
Oh,
guy," because I've
shit.
never seen Veronica Mars.
forgot
So
about
I was
that.
just excited.
And now
to
He's
see
also
that.
in
his
Galaxy
dick.
Quest and Money Train, two great movies.
Do you think of
Money Train
Galaxy
is
Quest first?
I think of
love
Money Train
Galaxy
Bro,
first,
don't
Quest.
honestly.
shit on Galaxy Quest.
It's a great
I love
great
Galaxy
fucking
Quest,
movie.
yeah.
And just a couple things real quick. I do want to mention IMDb has this clocked in at an 8.2,
That works.
and Rotten Tomatoes critic score 94%, audience score 93%. So
I feel
you know,
good about all of those ratings.
So they paid the Rotten Tomatoes money. Good for them.
Well,
I
This
agree
show's
with
very
those
popular.
scores for the record.
and I want to remind you all also, S1E1pod.com is where you can find the links to all our social medias, everywhere you can listen to us. Please follow us on X and Instagram, S1E1pod. We have just about everything, but those are probably the main ones that we use. Interact with us, hit us up. If you send us a 5-star review from Apple, prove it to us. We'll follow you on any social media you'd like, is our way of saying thank you. Just a small gesture. And yeah, let us know shows you want us to cover and things like that.
You hear the times are changing? You naturally said X.
I'm making a conscious effort to. I deep
It's
down
weird.
still feel like 5 years from now it's either going to be gone or called Twitter by a new owner again. But in the meantime, I'll try to follow suit.
I hate X.
I think it's so dumb, and there's going to be a point where like we're going to listen back to old episodes and go, "Oh, remember when it was called X? That sounded so dumb."
It's gonna be neat.
Do you think there's somebody though who has the like very first handle of like @Malcolm and now he's like @MalcolmX.com because that's a pretty good handle to have. We didn't land on Twitter.
Malcolm.x.com.
Twitter landed on us.
No, because they still kept it Twitter. The URL is still Twitter despite it being X.
But he owns X.com.
Does he?
Malcolm
They
X does?
change it, man.
No, Malcolm
Yes,
X did not
Malcolm
exist
X
when the
does.
internet existed.
Malcolm X has risen from the grave and he has murdered Elon Musk and taken over the platform, and that's why it's called X. I love this universe that you've just created so much more than the one we live in.
It was actually Exhibit that killed him and took over, though.
It was exactly.
So I don't know if you guys had saw. I was looking up a little bit about the show, and so this show was like originally being worked out like early 2000s, and it took years to actually kind of come into play. But the original adaptation had Henry was going to be played by Paul Rudd, who was one of the creators, like I mentioned. Ken's character was actually going to be Steve Carell.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, I can't. Listen. I love Steve Carell. I can't see anybody but Ken playing this character.
And we've talked about this before too. It's one of those things where, yeah, it could be really cool, but what's the butterfly effect? Like, what shows are affected if that happens?
Exactly. Yep.
Like, The
I'm
Office
glad
doesn't
this
happen,
happened
or
the exact way it did, and we got The Office the way it did and everything.
But that happens, and then we get the Bob Odenkirk Office or something like that. So that could, I mean, who knows? You know,
The Bob Odenkirk Office, I feel like, would be very funny, but without Ken Marino every episode going, no, the show is nowhere near as funny as it would be.
Well, this only went 2 seasons. How much later was The Office from the cancellation of this?
Office started already.
It did. Okay, so
Yeah.
it would have fucked everything.
Well,
And we
this
do get
was-
one Office alum in this episode.
Yeah, this would have been though if this started when they planned it, which was early 2000. So like everything's different in that world. Time will
And one
tell.
thing I just want to ask real quick. So I know Gordo said he hadn't seen it. Jay, had you seen it?
No, I mentioned it earlier. I'd never seen an episode. I
Yeah,
had always
Nick.
been aware of it, but it just never crossed paths with me.
Just never
Yeah,
saw
I just-
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we finished the 3rd season right when it came out
Okay.
too, or it was a weekly release, I think, but we did watch it, religiously. I love this show. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask then you two guys who hadn't seen it before, and this isn't getting into plot or anything, but watching this now, probably for like the 11th time ever, the way it's paced, I'm always like, oh, this is going to lead to the next thing. And I feel like it's the way it's written, not just that I know. Did you feel that? Like every time something happened, did you feel like it was laying groundwork for the next thing? Because I feel like that's how it's written, but you guys hadn't seen it before.
No.
At times, but I'll say I always watch it twice, or at least try to. In this case, I did. Watching it back the second time, you could see like very clear like things that were being laid as foundation for later scenes, which is kind of always a good sign of like good writing.
Yeah.
Some shows it feels like they're writing the scenes on the fly, and then there's other ones where you could tell they really like laid out what's going on and structure it a certain way.
I mean,
Ron's racial sensitivity training payoff is maybe my favorite.
One of our longtime listeners, Jeff, who's listening to this, there's a few lines from this episode we've been saying to each other for years and years, and one of them is, I think, the funniest line of this episode, which is definitely a racial insensitivity line, which is just, it's never not going to make you laugh.
So to get into the episode itself, we start off with Ron, played by Ken Marino, who's in a million things, as is most of these people. And that was another one. Ken Marino, it's funny for me, Ken Marino, if we're doing the Link game again, I think of role models because he plays like the stepdad with Jane Lynch. They have a scene together. Paul Rudd's in the movie. It's just like, again, it's all the pieces come together.
It's a generation of such funny people.
Yeah. He's doing this. You get a little monologue from him. And they're setting up for this party. So it's a catering group. So they're doing those like private parties where they kind of do the all encompassing. They do the catering, the DJs, like bartending, all that stuff. He mentions that towards the end of it that he used to be a little bit wilder, but nowadays he's like clean and sober. And I thought, I don't know the future run of the show. I felt like the natural progression would be for him to eventually slip up again and like go off the deep end, because it's brought up so early on that he's a clean and sober guy.
Well, because Joe is smirking like that, I'm guessing you're right.
His story arc is one of loss and redemption. I will say that.
Okay, good to know. That was like as soon as he said clean and sober, I was like, that's not gonna last. And his name's Ron Donald. Is there any point where we find out that his middle name has like a Mick something in it?
No,
This isn't
believe
like Mac
so.
from Always Sunny, right? His name isn't secretly Ronald McDonald.
no, it's just Ronald Donald.
Yeah, it's Ronald Donald, which is equally funny, I guess.
I was gonna say it's almost funny.
Yeah.
And then while he's talking to the client, it's like a couple hosting the party, and the woman who's one of the homeowners, he's talking to her while the character Roman, he's struggling with a jar. What was it a jar of? I couldn't quite figure it out.
I thought it was mustard.
I was gonna say it looked like some fancy mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it as mustard. I was laughing because I was like, oh, it's, yeah.
With like a screw top?
Yeah, maybe some Grey Poupon.
Well, if it's a mustard
Yeah.
jar that's that big, it's industrial, right? Like if you go
That's
to
true
a...
too. They are caterers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your classic Grey Poupon is a screw top.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but much smaller bottle. But again, industrial size for the caterers.
And a
Fancy
lot
mustard
funner
you
to
use,
say.
use a knife for.
And that's and he eventually gets some on the girl. That's Roman, played by Martin Starr.
Another good
You know
one.
him from the newer Spider-Man movies. You would Silicon Valley.
And
Freaks and Geeks. like
Freaks
we
and
mentioned
Geeks,
earlier.
yeah.
Freaks and
He's
Geeks, which I mentioned
number
earlier.
one. Which I mean,
One of the funniest episodes of The League ever, too.
And the Incredible Hulk. No?
I mean, I didn't see the Spider-Man movies either. Don't look at me.
I feel like he's more present in the Spider-Man movies, but
Well, you're going to call me a nerd again, but the theory is that his character in The Incredible Hulk is the same character that's the teacher. But he's
get right
grown
out
up.
of town.
And fuck you.
He's also in Walk Hard, which we bring up a lot on this show.
If you pay
too.
attention in scene 4, you can see it adjust his belt, and there's an H on the belt that glimmers green.
Does he become the Hulk? Is he Bruce Banner?
Making fun of me. Look at the background of your screen. I see Iron Man. Are you just a fake nerd or are you a real nerd?
Iron Man and Batman.
Jay's a fake nerd. He's a
Reform
furd.
nerd.
No, Jay
not
just
a
leaves the
nerd.
Batman, Red Sox from the early 90s, and Iron Man posters on his wall so he
It's
can
Jose
score checks.
Canseco.
That's why he has them up there. He's not a fake nerd.
It's Jose Canseco, the best Red Sox of all time.
Put a real sports star up there like OJ.
So, anyways, to get back into this interaction, client walks off, and we're getting the first time Ron's reminding her about the client feedback card at the end. And that was the first time I realized that he wasn't like the owner. In the first scene, I just assumed he owned the company. But then the importance of him, of the feedback cards is the first time I was like, oh, he's just an employee here. But he's like, the manager or whatever he is.
Yeah, I thought he owned it too.
I think they want you to think that originally.
No, I think he's not the owner. I thought the feedback card was just for their online
No,
presence.
it's him because he's trying to impress the owner, Mr. Duck, right? Was
Oh,
it Mr.
yeah.
Duck?
Yeah, because if he does well, then he can get his own Super Crackers franchise.
That's right.
Yeah, and a hockey team.
Weird lofty
Okay.
goals.
So that was a Mighty Ducks reference. Mrs. Ducksworth.
It's
Monsignor Ducksworth, thank you very much.
And then from there we cut to we meet Henry for the first time, and that's Adam Scott. Again, long list of credentials. Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec, Step Brothers, like the list of Ghosted, one of his biggest shows.
Ghosted was great.
Check out our episode and watch the show because it is great.
We talk about the writing of this show. One of the things I tracked so immediately in this this scene is that he pulls up in like a 10-year-old really beaten up BMW, which goes to show like a car that was worth a lot of money 10 years ago and is now beat to shit. Like it's such a good representative of his character. Like this thing from 8 years ago or whatever that was big and shiny is now like
because
a sleazy kind of broken down thing.
Yeah, there's this ongoing runner throughout the show where people are trying to figure out where they know him from, which would indicate that he was once of some notoriety. So he probably blew that check and then kind of faded off.
I find it more heartwarming though that he blew it on a BMW instead of like a Ferrari,
Well, they cost very different amounts of money. Like BMW
Sure.
is like something like any of us could buy a BMW if we wanted to. I can't buy a Ferrari.
I would like to think he used the money to run for mayor of his town.
Make an ice hotel that didn't take off.
Was it Ice Palace or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, he pulls up. He walks into the house. While he's walking in, Ron's addressing the staff. This is when we first meet Kyle and Constance. Constance is Jane Lynch. Kyle, I can't remember the actor's name, and I feel bad because he's done a bunch of things.
Ryan Hansen.
What is it?
Ryan Hansen.
Ryan Hansen. I don't want to sound the wrong way. I would say he's like the least famous of this crew, but he's also been in a million things. So he's had a very lengthy career anyways.
He's never stopped working, and he was in the 2009 Friday the 13th movie.
Oh, is he the fucking preppy guy who's like, yeah, get off my boat? Yeah,
I
he
think
sucks. Now I hate
that's
him.
what his character was. I saw that movie once in 2009, and then 2 minutes later, I was like, why did I watch this movie?
Yeah, that's
And then I
not
watched
great.
Turtle Freddy, and then I just couldn't do it anymore.
I was gonna say Turtle Freddy makes that movie look like a masterpiece. I'll say that.
And they're going over like some lines. I guess Kyle's an aspiring actor. And as we learn with most of this catering group, they're all kind of aspiring actors or entertainers in some fashion.
Comedians, screenwriters.
Yeah, so they all exist in this world, and that's much like the LA thing, right? Like every waitress and waiter in LA is an actor aspiring. So
They don't actually say where they live, right? We're just to assume it's LA.
no, I think LA is mentioned at some point. I don't know if it is in this episode.
I don't think it's
actually.
mentioned.
I'm pretty
know
sure
it
it
is.
is.
I don't remember if it is in this episode or not.
I know
but
it is, but
Los
I don't know if
Angeles.
it's mentioned specifically in the episode.
I think
but
it's
do know
just the
that's
fact that they're all actors.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
We just to assume.
Doesn't the bald guy when he's in Salt in the suburbs here, L.A. right? Like,
Oh, he might say something. Yeah,
He
he might in
might.
the pool.
We'll find out as I go through these notes later on if it came up. So yeah, they're going over these lines. Ron's obviously bothered because he's trying to get everyone ready for this party, and they're kind of more consumed with this. The one thing that flagged me while they were all talking is that Kyle doesn't know the word privy.
Yeah, he
privy.
says privy. That is the best way to give the character his first introduction and let you know exactly where his character lives. You know, I'm not privy to that. It's so fucking funny.
I also liked when Ron was like, when they asked him like, "Hey, we're running a scene." He's like, "How about we run some bruschetta?" And he finds that very funny and laughs at himself.
This is also some of the greatest. I think Jane Lynch is like a comedic hero too, right? She's so funny. She has so much with so little in this too. Like she just pops in.
Up.
Yeah, it's so funny. She's just eating cheese, and you find out that it's an ongoing problem that she steals so much cheese. A woman after my own heart.
I was definitely first introduced to her in Role Models.
Not
I think
40-Year-Old Virgin.
40-Year-Old Virgin for me.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. I guess, yeah.
And also, I think I've talked about this before,
It's
and
a
you
buddy.
might be
You
able to
fuck.
listen to it. If you go to that listentoamovie.com website, I think you can actually just listen to the audio commentary track of all of the cast from 40-Year-Old Virgin, like hanging out, clearly drinking, talking through the movie. And it is one of the funniest things ever. And Jane Lynch talks about like the Mexican, like Spanish song she sings. It's so good.
I'll say this. You've brought this site up a long time ago, and I thought this was insane and weird that you'll listen to a movie's audio without the visual. I will say the idea of listening to like a director's commentary or the cast commentary without
Oh, it
the
works so
visual, I
well,
think
yeah.
that's doable because that's just like a watch-along podcast before podcasts are really a thing.
Right. And that one, everybody's super funny in it. But Jane Lynch's whole thing where she talks like her songs and everything that are all just like made up, like they're all just so fucking funny.
And where you mentioned Mexican, it's a good segue. This is when Ron mentions the racial sensitivity training that he went through that he thinks would be good for all of them. And then you also have to wonder, like, why was he asked to do this? Like, what did he say at some point that caused him to have to do it?
It's not mandatory training.
Yeah. And
I just assume that he's a manager and he's trying hard.
I feel like this is one of those. He was
You do
asked
it
to
because
do
you
it.
did
No,
something.
I feel like that's equal to Andy punching the wall and have to go to anger.
Or even, or another Office one when they did the racial stuff in the Office because Michael Scott, well, like
The Chris
the whole
Rock
everyone had to
routine.
do it, but it was really just to get him to do it.
Michael did the Chris Rock routine, yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Mexican, not offensive. He's like, he thought that was like a racial term.
Like you get these characters right away.
And right around here is when they're also talking about how he made the option. He lets them know that they could put out a tip jar. And they're all like, you would think in theory that that's a good thing. But I guess like the option is you either get a $20 guarantee or you split the tips. And they're all like, what did you do that for? Like, we had guaranteed money. And he's like, no, like, we have to bet on ourselves. And you think 20 is such a low bar for an open, like, bar party, like, or whatever, like, that should easily be made back.
I was
amongst
going to
5 or
say,
6
it
people.
depends where they put said tip jar. If it's the tip jar is on the bar, they're going to make a fortune.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you
And
just
also,
leave it in
too-
the hallway.
A party like that too, you're not gonna go in there and give $1 a drink. You're gonna go drop like, especially if you're like a rich person, you're gonna throw like $50 in there and be like, hey, this is for the whole night, keep them coming. You know what I mean? It's open bar.
I don't know about that. I've worked in some of these places. In this particular setting, not
Have we
really.
talked about how Ferg did this job?
Not yet. I was actually
wasn't
like,
there.
I kept thinking about bringing it up, but I couldn't figure out when the right time to bring it up was.
I wasn't a server or anything. I was in the back.
You're the one eating all the cheese.
I was eating all the cheese and
And cutting it.
desserts. Hey, I love farts.
Hey, fart Jay's a big fart guy now.
Welcome to Team Fart.
Now I'm all alone on my island.
Yep.
No, Team Come Forever. And to those of you who are new listening to us, actually, this is like the one episode where you can be new and hear us for the first time and not be like, the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, the show is like such a mildly offensive thing that you can just
Yeah.
kind of go for whatever we're usually
I feel
doing,
like
you know?
our humors take a similar path.
But we just mentioned that Ferg did that, but Gordo, you said you did that too. Did you do a lot of bartending at these events?
I didn't do bartend. I always cooked at these types of events. I rarely did house parties.
That seems
Um,
uncomfortable.
What about House Party 2?
Oh.
No,
You beat me
Huh?
to it.
no. I actually, funny thing, I did a private wedding once, and I had to impersonate Nick.
What?
So
Why?
our friend had a catering. Her friend's family had a
Me?
cater. Yes, you'll know who I'm talking about. I don't want to say his name. But his family has a catering company, or his family are all a bunch of chefs. And they said, oh, Nick is going to come with me to go and be a server. And Nick couldn't make it for whatever reason. So this person asked me. And
it's also possible that I couldn't make it because I was never told about it. This is all new to me.
So this is what he told me, was that Nick is supposed to work it. Nick can't work it, so you're going to impersonate Nick. So I went around for an entire wedding with everybody calling me Nick. For some reason, I don't know why this kid wouldn't just tell his family that Nick couldn't make it, but I got a friend, which blew up at the end because his uncle, who was a chef upstairs from the commercial kitchen I worked at, knew me and knew my name wasn't Nick. So he done fucked up, but that was a weird thing that happened.
Such a sitcom plot. You had trying
No,
to
I
two different people at a party.
I
One person knows
swear to
you.
God.
Gord is also on a date with two different girls at both parties too. And I did not. That was the first time too, Gordy ever made chef sound like an insult. You're like, his fucking family was a bunch of fucking chefs. I was like, whoa.
I was a chef.
Took fucking knives away, buddy.
I was a chef.
Did you go home that night and split your room in half with your brother? You stay on your side. I'll stay on mine.
I just don't
Sitcom trope, Gorda.
So one of the things I don't understand is Nick doesn't have a background in catering. Like the family's like, oh, good thing it's Nick. Nick knows what he's doing if it's catering.
I have
Like,
no idea.
Wait, this must have been like 2006.
You
It
both
must
work
have
at
been.
the airport though with the catering stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I briefly have food service experience, if you want to call it that.
But most of that experience was you guys stealing giant steaming trays of lamb and bringing them back
No,
to.
we weren't stealing. We were stopping them from being thrown in the garbage.
Which I
I mean,
appreciate
true.
too. We put them to better use.
And I was ordering large bottles of liquor that just happened to be one extra. That the place
now
didn't
that's
need.
stealing.
It's not stealing.
Yeah, but it was delicious stealing. That was a bunch of shithead 20-year-olds being like, we're getting drunk on Woodford Reserve. Like, stuff that we had no right to be drinking.
I was going to say,
You guys-
Woodford Reserve isn't bad. I thought you were saying it negatively. I was like, it's not bad
No,
at all.
I love Woodford Reserve. I think the reason I love it is because we used to drink it so much when we were normally buying Thompson's.
So, to cut back into this, during the speech is when Henry walks in and Ron introduces him to everybody, kind of tells everyone, like, oh, like, basically, like, big star, and now he's back here working with us. And this is the first indication that, he was in something before this. Like, we don't know what his past is, and at this point, you don't know if they're going to tell you or not, but I didn't think we were actually going to get a reveal this episode. I thought they were going to, like, prolong it, but.
Do you guys take that as like passive aggressive? And he's like, "Oh, he used to be a big star. Now he's here with us." Like,
I don't from Ron.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the show, so I
I can see the argument either way because Ron's also very proud as to like where he's risen in the catering business. And it's almost like while you wasted your time out in Hollywood, like I was like working up the ranks in catering and look at me now, like assistant manager.
I think
You know?
proud of being that he's higher up now, but also not trying to shit on. I think he's more so self-centered that he's trying to be more like building himself up than knocking Adam Scott down.
Because one thing that's like very clear early in this episode is like Ron takes this job incredibly serious. Like he sees this as a real opportunity for him.
What's
And like
it's just what's funny about that is he takes it so seriously, but he also sucks at it.
Right.
Like he's not good at the job, and he still is like balls deep in how much he needs to be good at it. It's like, why don't you try being good at it first and then forcing other people to be good at it, because you can't lead by example if you're the biggest fuck up in the room.
I wouldn't say
but his
he's
fuck
bad
ups
at it.
and his fuck ups are more unintentional, where everyone else just doesn't give a fuck. So it's like it's a different thing. He cares too much.
That's true too, actually.
He's not necessarily bad at his job. He's just surrounded by people who don't care, and they set him up to fail, and he can't help himself but fail.
Well, I mean, like
harder.
when he's juggling the mixer.
Well, in fairness, the reason there was a spill, we'll get into that later. But that was not
to be
his
fair,
fault.
yeah, he's actually very good at that.
Yeah, it was impressive. I don't know why he wanted to show kids, but we'll talk about that later.
You know,
at this
kids
point-
love the movie
juggler.
Cocktail.
At this point, he sidebars with Henry because he wants to talk to him because Henry's shirt, I wouldn't have noticed until it was called out, but Henry's shirt like does look like he got it out of the back of his car and just put it on real quick. It's like all wrinkled. He told him specifically that it was to be a crisp white shirt that he put on, and luckily he has one that he keeps in the van as like a spare, which like a lot of things in this episode comes into play later. I wouldn't have thought this would have meant anything, but it does.
It's so subtle too, because when they cut back to him, Adam Scott looks so funny wearing Ken Marino's shirt. Like they're just
Like
different
it's
sized
XL,
enough
yeah.
that it's
like
subtle funny.
And after this scene, we get the quick title screen. There isn't much to it, like brief jingle, just a title screen. We've talked about this before. I'm okay with it.
I love it. Yeah.
I
This
love
is
it,
just-
especially with a 28-minute show. Like you don't want to be in the title screen for
That's
more
why.
than 10 seconds.
A show
Yeah.
this long, I don't want another minute. I don't want it to hit the full 30. This is a show that could have had like a more proper intro and it would work. It's like the right vibe of a show that they could have did something good with it, but they would have.
It's also a show that does the end credit stinger too. So like they even give you more after, like during the credits, so you really can't add anything to make it even longer.
So after that, we're back in like the living room area, and Henry's got this little bar set up, like the bar cart, and he's prepping for the party, and he's cutting limes, and that's when Ron walks in, and he's like talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, a little rusty, huh?" And as they're talking, like Ron's just trying to go over some stuff with him, but like he can't like get past the fact that he doesn't like how these limes are being cut, and like has to interject and like get in and like start like doing it himself.
I cut a lot of limes. I've never been a bartender or anything. We just use a lot of limes. I have one of those cool like lime squeezer guys, because we cook a lot of Mexican food, right? And like you use it for like the chicken and everything. And I love put a couple pieces of lime in a soda water. It's a very refreshing drink. I've never ever thought about cutting them any specific way. It's just like you cut it in half and then you cut it against the.
Well, there's two
There is
ways
a way.
you want to cut it. So there's one way if it's gonna be a cup garnish, if you want to like wedge it onto the cup.
Right. Well,
And
garnish
another
is
way-
different, yeah.
Another way if you want to put it in like a Corona bottle. Like they can't be too big or wide, otherwise you're not gonna fit in the bottle and stuff like that. But
Now, am
I
I
think what Ken's contention with it is just displayability,
How
because
they
they're gonna
look.
be in that little thing, and he just wants them all to look the same. And I don't think Adam Scott's character is doing a good job of that.
In this conversation too is when we talked about it earlier. This is all about Ron's dream to eventually own a Super Crackers franchise, which Henry's like the all you can eat salad place. He's like, and soup. They're known for soup, and like just his delivery there, like I really liked, because that's when you can tell like what a serious dream of this like it really is for him.
So I guess that would be like in a real life scenario, close to like a Panera, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
place
I
you can go
guess,
to where there's like 10 soups every day and salad and bread.
In my head, it was like trashier than a Panera, right? Like it. In my head, I'm like the soup and salad comparison. What you're saying makes the most sense, but I'm thinking, what if Golden Corral made their own Panera? You know.
I was just thinking the Golden Corral of Panera Bread.
I was thinking if Panera Breads were inside of gas stations the way Subways are, that would also be a good probably version of it.
You know, this might be controversial, but I think Panera Bread is extremely overrated.
No,
Me
they
too.
are now. I would say even 5 years ago they were leaps better than they are now. I think they went through like a big like change like on the corporate level, and they just gave up on quality entirely. Like because now they're literally just like hospital cafeteria sandwiches. There's nothing to them at
All
all.
I know is
They've
I got
always
the
been
mac and
like that,
cheese, and
though.
it was cold. I don't like cold mac and cheese.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the broccoli cheddar soup. I mean, but that's kind of
It
hard
is
to
still
fuck
good.
up.
When you say they went through the change, when you say they went through the minestrone,
No one laughed.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
it was
Did Gordo pass that one to
funny.
you?
It was funny. Gordo didn't get it. That's why he didn't laugh.
No, I got it. It just wasn't funny.
Oh, really? What's it about?
Menopause.
Damn it.
Your damn it was so genuine.
I thought I had him. He lies so much. He lies so much. I also want to bring up that Ron also displays that out of everyone on Earth, he ranks dead last in Yoda impressions.
His Yoda impression, which is just does he Kermit a little bit there, I think?
I think that was on purpose. I think that's just the character.
I guess it probably is. Yeah, it's probably the character choice of the actor to do a shitty impression. But
It's
as
hard
I hear
to fuck. It's hard to fuck up Yoda, and I don't think I don't think you can do it unless you do it on purpose.
Well, anytime you do a Yoda impression and you don't flip the sentence and you say it's just normal, it's going.
It sounds weird,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to know to flip
And
the
I
words.
think that's the character. He's corny and doesn't understand and fucks it up.
And this is also when Casey walks in for the first time, played by Lizzy Caplan. We talked about her a little bit earlier. Mean Girls. You brought up Mean Girls earlier. I think that's the first time I was introduced to her.
One of the first time I was
first.
introduced to
She's
her, for
also
sure.
in
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yep, she's in Joe's favorite show.
She's in Ferg's favorite movie,
What's my favorite movie?
Cloverfield.
Ugh.
No, she's great in though. Masters of Sex, which is an amazing show that she was in for a while. And then I don't know if you guys watched any of the Castle Rock show, the Stephen King anthology series.
No.
They do a whole season where she's young Annie from Misery, and she's fucking great in that.
Oh, that's interesting.
She's also in New Girl, your favorite show, Joe.
Boy, do I love Lizzy Caplan, and boy, do I hate the show New Girl.
Did you used to? I don't know if you still do. Did you not like Lizzy Caplan?
I am not a fan.
I thought so.
Weird, why?
Because he
I just
hates
don't like her.
so many. She's someone who, like, I don't know, like, again, Mean Girls was probably the first time I was introduced to her and didn't have any strong opinions of her from that. Definitely, like, as the more I've seen her in other roles, have developed a bit of a crush on her, if I'm being fully transparent.
I mean, she's
I
a babe
liked-
for sure.
I liked her in this. In New Girl, she gets in between Nick and Jess dating, which makes me hate her more.
It makes me hate you more that you hate her because she breaks a plot point in New Girl for you.
As a character, yeah.
I'm sorry that show is that good that it affected me.
I'll say this, in fairness, it took me years to stop hating Bradley Cooper after seeing Wedding Crashes.
I mean, that is a great dick roll movie.
So, but to get back into this, she walks into the room and she's on the phone with her. We find out later is her husband, and in like literally just as she's walking in, she's not like she just got there, and Ron's pissed because that's personal business on company time, and this is like her second offense, so now she's on final warning. As he's telling her that, she's like, "Hey, who's that?" Like referring to Henry who's at the bar. What happened to Sage? And he's like, oh, Sage was caught doing that thing, so we had to let him go. And then says, this is Henry. And she's like, wait, so just so we're clear, Sage got 5 warnings for masturbating in closets, and I'm on last warning already, even though I've only been late 2 times.
Sage should have been fired earlier for being a guy named Sage. Just saying.
Do we ever meet Sage? Does that character ever
No.
return?
I don't know. No, you don't. But do you trust people like that? Like, okay, none of us are at that any point.
Closet masturbators? No, not typically.
No, not particularly.
Without
Oh.
belts around their neck?
Having, like, I wouldn't want people randomly in my house like that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we're never at that
Well,
level.
yeah,
and-
Joe. He's gonna masturbate in your closet. Of course you don't want him in your house.
He's saying it like it's a controversial take.
I know you guys would typically want him over for dinner, but me, call me wacky. I don't want this guy in my home.
The funny thing is, my closet, because we had to have like a second closet because we only have one in the room or whatever, is one of those like it's an external thing with shelves in it. So like he'd have to really work himself in there to do it. But no, what I meant was I try my best to not have situations where people are in my house masturbating in my closet because it's weird to let strangers into your house in general and mass to be able to roam free.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, these are the extreme situations where you're hosting parties and you have hired help, which
Yeah.
isn't the norm, but there's not
I don't think
that's
any of us will
part of
ever
the-
be at that level, but
No, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, I don't think any of us are going to be at the level where
it's
we
not
have a
like
house big
a
enough.
millionaire only thing. Like it's not like totally out of the realm.
I don't think these people are millionaires. I think that they're just
I'm
like
saying it's
upper
not a
middle
millionaire
class.
thing. I don't think it has to be.
no. I just think they do well
you-
for themselves, and they've got more money than we all do, though.
And I'll say, as far as like having a stranger randomly masturbating in your house, like, yes, it could be the caterer, but it could also be the cable guy. You know what I mean? Or the electrician that you have.
Oh, sure, yeah. Somebody comes in to work on the plumbing or something. You never know.
And they're working
There's-
on the pipes, all right.
I mean, it could be your old neighbor that you're gonna come in and have fix your outlet.
I hope not. I mean, I did have 2 fence guys come in and both of them clogged a toilet, so that was fun.
With jizz.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Team Poopy come. That was a double joke.
Nobody's on Team Poopy Cum.
Certainly not me.
As Casey's meeting Henry for the first time, she's like, "Oh, going for your own look, I see." We talked earlier. He's wearing Ron's shirt, so it's a little baggy on him. He's like, "Yeah."
I didn't even notice that at first.
It's very subtle.
It's subtle.
very
That's the thing.
subtle.
It's not his size shirt,
You
but
can
it's
see
not.
in the sleeves. more
Ron
than
isn't
anything.
Andre the Giant either. You know what I mean? He's just a lot bigger.
Looks like
than
Andre the
Henry.
Giant's shirt, though. Yeah.
Well, on him because it's a couple sizes too big.
He's a
but-
big dude, though. He's not small.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, like I said, it's a couple sizes up for him. So
I think about the shirt like that though too, because it cuffs tight. It always makes it look funnier, right? Because it's gonna be tight at the bottom, and then it flows out even more because of that.
yeah, and I guess I didn't want to get into another tangent, but because we had a lot of episode to cover, but as a man who fluctuates in weight a ton, and I think I might have mentioned this before, my neck doesn't change too much. So even though like I can swing 100 pounds like nobody else on earth, my neck size is about the same. So like my shirt size is always like.
Are you
when
sure
I'm-
about that? You might just not realize it.
It goes down a bit, like, but not a lot. Like I've been fitted for shirts like when I was a lot thinner and my neck was a certain size, and it doesn't
Yeah.
go up by much when I go up. So like a thinner version of me ends up having to buy shirts that are a lot looser than I'd like because I have this thick neck.
It's thick neck. I spit
Thick,
all over
wet
myself.
neck.
But anyways, as she brings up the shirt, Henry goes, "Yeah, I thought I'd go for a helpful gay pirate kind of thing." And she's like, "You don't look helpful." Ron's getting really nervous. He's like, "Okay, like, I'm not, but some people really, you don't know who might be, referring to the gay thing, but
A
it's like
pirate?
a pirate? Helpful?" And he's like, "Gay." he's like afraid to even just say it.
I do love though that Adam Scott, Lizzy Caplan are like so symbiotic immediately.
Yeah, they hit it off.
Yeah.
Like they have the exact same sense of humor, and they both know how to fuck with Ron.
Right there, I got the will they, won't they.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
think so. I mean, they throw the curveball at you. We'll get into it, but I think you are to expect them to get together at some point.
Even with the curveball, you definitely get it.
And having not seen the show up until now, but knowing a little bit about it and knowing that she wasn't in season 3, I was already like, that sucks.
She does pop in though.
I saw that. I was doing a little reading.
It made me mad though. I will say this for the producers of season 3. The reason she wasn't in it is because like she had like a different commitment and they had to film without her for most of it. To which I said, you couldn't have waited a little longer. If you wait 10 years to make
Yeah.
the next season,
Right, you can't wait, 6 more months?
right? Like, why not just do it 11 and get everybody if you could?
But
Like, I never
again,
understood that.
In fairness, and I don't know, I wasn't in the room, everybody is way more popular now than when
That's
the show
true.
first came on, and
Yeah.
they
All busy, I'm
all
sure,
are
yeah.
constantly working, so maybe this was like the only time they could get almost everybody.
Honestly, when you think about the rest of no, I was going to say when you think about the rest of the cast, but there's a few new people in the new seasons. But she's probably lower on the totem pole as far as importance. Like, excuse me, not as far as how important she is, but like how busy she is versus how important she is. You know what I mean? Like Adam Scott and Ken Marino and them are probably going to take priority over when they're available and when they can film, as opposed to, Lizzy Caplan. Who,
I'm sure there was a short list of like absolutely has to be in it, and then the rest were all kind of like,
right.
even though they're all popular, like I'm sure you really were like, okay, we need Ron and we need Henry, and like those two have to be there, and then the rest, if we can get most of them, whatever combination we get, will be
Fill out
great.
people when you can. Pop in
They're all
one episode
popular,
at a time.
but they're not. None of them are stars, like starring roles.
Well,
Adam Scott,
I mean, what is he starred in as like the main character other than this?
Ghosted.
Case in point,
I mean, we all really like Ghosted.
I love Ghosted. We love Ghosted. Does the
Another
world
show
know
that
it
I'm like, how
exists?
dare you
No.
not make a second season?
I don't think he was ever tried to be the big guy, the main guy.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying like a starring role would be hard to get, but none of them are all like mainstream people that they'd be that difficult to all get.
Jane Lynch.
She doesn't really star in a lot of things. She usually is like.
I mean,
the
Glee
second or
was
third.
big.
But in the next scene, I wanted to glance past it because I don't want to get too detail heavy. But so many things have little callbacks. We see Kyle walk by with like a tray of food, and it's one of the hors d'oeuvres of the party. And it's like little fried chickens, and it's important to mention that it's one of the hors d'oeuvres because it does come back into play later on.
Yeah,
but
Boy, does it.
This is also where we meet like both owners. So we already met the wife, but now we see the husband as well. And that's as you said earlier, the guy from Just Shoot Me, and I wish I had his name written down, but I don't.
Enrico Colantoni.
There you go. He's
It's just weird not
in-
to say that in that accent. I don't know why.
And it's also weird to say it in that accent. So
Here we
damned
are.
if you do, damned if you don't. But yeah, he's been in a million things. But we're already seeing the dynamic between this couple in this scene. He's the drag along husband. Like he's just here to pay the bills at this point. But he's miserable.
He's henpecked and
He wants nothing to do with this party, but to her it's a big event and she cares about it. And he's not even dressed and people are about to walk in and all that kind of stuff.
he owns pleated shorts. That's when you know your life has taken a turn for the not so great. When you have shorts and they are pleated.
I would say more importantly, she owns pleated shorts that she makes him wear. You know,
Right,
It's like,
yeah.
you know,
He's
Yeah.
forced into pleated shorts.
he has very little control of his own life. And I like that the wife asks, "Hey, are you guys going to be filming the party?" And they pull out the camcorder, and I was trying to get a vibe for 2009. Was this like time appropriate technology? I feel like we're just starting to get past it, but I guess it's still kind of relevant to have a camcorder like that.
I think 2009, we're probably going to be like just the very first iPhones. This is what like a catering company would probably have on hand, right? Like, because you do like events and you offer these other things and you have probably 5-year-old technology to do it.
I mean, so like say 2012 is when like you're getting newer iPhones and the Galaxies and Samsung and stuff. Still weren't great cameras though. Like now we're
That's
getting
true.
into their better cameras than they are anything else. But back then, yeah, I'd say probably you would still justify using a camcorder in like 2015 even.
Yeah, and those were the ones that had like
Yeah.
the memory sticks on them. It wasn't like you were using a physical tape anymore on those.
We cut to Roman and he's setting up the DJ booth and he notices like the owner of the house is their daughter and he clearly has like this thing for her, and Kyle walks up to him and is like, "Go for it, man." Like in the moment where he's telling him to go for it, notices that like she's kind of looking back at him, looking back at Kyle. So Kyle's like, "Oh, she's into me," and like heads over. She's actually she's the daughter in that show The Middle, which we haven't covered yet.
Yeah, and is it just me or did she seem like substantially younger than them?
Yes.
I was just going to
So it
say,
was
I looked her
borderline
up.
creepy.
She's 18 in real life here, but she's obviously meant to be under 18 as this character.
I was very conflicted, right? And I don't know the ages of the characters.
all over 18.
Kyle talking to her didn't seem as creepy as Roman seeming to having a thing for her. Like Roman comes off as older.
They both come off as plus 21.
Yeah.
So either way, it's weird because I got like a 16, 15-year-old vibe from her.
I mean, you see her room, you see where she lives. Also, if you want to talk about how nice of a house it is, she has her own bathroom in that house. Holy cow.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the reveal would be at the end that she's young.
There was definitely room to have that happen, but yeah, they didn't, I mean, spoiler, they didn't go that route. And I do want to like eventually do The Middle, but I almost feel like this is weird. It's not a spin-off. It's not the same show, but I feel like you have to do Malcolm in the Middle before you can do The Middle.
Yeah, I thought about picking The Middle, and then I remembered I thought that it was a spin-off of Malcolm in the Middle.
No, it's
No, I
just
don't-
that like the formula was like so similar and like the character dynamics were really similar. And the fact
But I
that
was
it was
actu-
called The Middle was like the
Yeah.
real kicker.
That's one of those shows we bring up so often. Like, I'm going to be really sad the day that somebody actually picks Bob versus Abishola because it's just come up so much that
Not
once
versus.
you...
This isn't Street Fighter.
Bob
No,
Hart.
but you can't use it the same way anymore once it's gone, you know? Well, I said versus Bob versus Abishola. That's the divorce season. That's a totally different season of that show.
That'll be what is that? What are we going on our 3rd year anniversary?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be our 3-year Bob Hart Abishola.
It keeps popping up because now that I have Paramount Plus, like we talked about earlier, every fucking day I go to watch something and it's like, do you want to watch Bob Hart's Abishola? And like I look at my wife and I'm like, I kind of fucking want to watch it. I don't know.
I mean, it's not a. I mean, you should just watch it.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's one of those shows that like.
Wait, Gordo has seen Bob Hart
Yes,
Abishola?
I've actually seen the pilot episode.
Does that surprise you at all, Nick? Does that surprise you at
Yes,
all that
it
he's never
does.
seen anything but he's seen that show? For some reason,
I
that makes
guess when
way
you
too
put
much
it like
sense.
that, it's not super.
My mother watched it. I mean, we can get into the.
I
when
know
we
my
do the
mom
show.
also enjoys that show, but we have plenty more to talk about this show. Before, and I don't want to run too long, so we will talk about all those other shows, I guess, as we cover them. And the next thing we see here was I wanted to call back earlier. There's a point where Ron's walking by and he bumps into like this party goer and drops, what was in his plate. So as he goes to pick it up, he's like, "Oh, sorry, my bad." And then he says, "Hey, Constance, will you grab this man some fried chicken?" And realizes that the guy's black and he doesn't want to yell to get him some fried chicken.
Just get him some more hors d'oeuvres, please.
him
Hors
some,
that aren't chicken.
Appetizers that he says not shrimp, right?
Yeah, I
He
thought it
says
said
they're
not
not
shrimp.
shrimp. Yeah,
So they must only have shrimp and chicken. So
it's shrimp and chicken. Yeah,
he's trying
Surf
to
and turf.
say like, he's trying to tell her to get the chicken without saying get the chicken.
The fact that they build this up to such a crescendo is just
I thought this was funny.
Wow,
When they call
yeah.
back to this joke later, boom.
man. It is epic. Yeah.
Now we're outside and we kind of see the party being taped a little bit. When we see all the kids and Constance runs up with like 2 squirt guns doing the Scarface thing. It was like so fucking out of nowhere. But
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
did
so
find it funny.
fucking good. She's so funny.
And we get to the owner of the house, the male owner of the house. And he's talking to like just one of the guys at the party who's just like going on this like long, I feel like, I don't know, closest to Gordo, right? Just talking about weird dog breeds.
He was talking about doodles.
Yeah, so again,
There it
who's-
is. Yeah,
who's
Jay,
most
you
likely
are
to have this
correct,
conversation?
sir.
Listen, just because I own a doodle does not mean that
Well, do you have a Labradoodle or a Golden Retriever?
No, I have a Bernedoodle. Part Bernese Mountain Dog, part poodle.
You know, because all those poodles that were made for climbing mountains, those tiny little legs.
No, I mean, she can climb up a mountain like the best of them.
Look,
How
I've met
many
your dog
mountains
a
have
few
you guys
times.
climbed
Your
together?
dog,
A
your
couple,
dog would be fine
actually.
in those situations.
I have pictures. Would you like me to submit a picture of me on top of a mountain holding my doodle? And you can put it on the Instagram?
Hey, Homer.
I also have that too. You can repost that.
Sure.
Hey Homer, I can see your doodle.
I
Yeah,
don't think we want
I-
to post
yeah.
nude pictures of you, Gordo. I don't think it's
We'll
gonna help.
keep an eye out for our Instagram. That's 1E1 Pod. But anyways, this conversation is not entertaining this guy at all. He wants out of there, so he sneaks over to the bar area, which Henry's in charge of, and he's like, "Oh, beer me." And Henry's like,
Also,
"I
you
take
see
it-
Henry take a shot real quick too.
Oh, I didn't catch that actually.
Henry sneaks a shot as he's walking over.
Henry's like, "I take it you're a regular," and he like points to the family photo that's behind them. He's like,
Which I feel like that was like an actual good bartender comment.
yeah, I would say it was a funny little kind of like quick quip, you know.
That's how you get those tips.
He's like, "I don't know who they are, but they're killing my buzz." And this was like one of the first, like, "You look familiar. Are you an actor?" He's like, "Nah, just one of those faces." He walks off right as Roman walks up, and we get that whole Repo Man conversation. I feel like, Joe, you really appreciated this.
Yeah, I actually
Ordinary
brought
fucking
out. I have my
people.
Rip Man koozie, but it doesn't fit the can very well. So yeah, one of my favorite movies of all time.
So yeah, I mean, I guess this is good, right? I think Roman's trying to bond with him. He's like, "We're
Yeah,
probably the only
Roman's-
2 people who get this."
He's trying to bond with them, and I think he's like putting a lifeline out there, and then when he understands it, then he's really trying to bond with them.
Yeah, it's almost like it was like a test, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think this guy and I might have a connection, and if he knows this line, then like I know like we might be buds.
Have you guys seen? I know Jay, you have, but Nick and Gordo, have you seen Repo Man before?
Yeah, I've seen Repo Man.
Nick, have
Starring
you seen
Barry
it?
Dorso.
Great wrestler.
I think the last time I saw Repo Man, we were probably in high school.
I was going to say, it would probably be even earlier for me. So.
Yeah, and watching it together somewhere.
I'm sure we all watched it together
I have
somewhere.
very slight recollection of Repo Man.
It
And I
still
would
holds
also
up very
say
well.
It early enough that my memory is very, very fuzzy, and I would probably appreciate it a lot more now
Yeah.
than I would have back then.
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, the satire of that movie definitely hits better when you're older. Like, you don't kind of get it. It's just like a fun movie as a kid. And then as an adult, you're like, oh, this is way deeper and funnier than I thought it was.
This is when Kyle walks up and he has a couple orders. They're kind of like, I don't know. He brings it up again, and obviously, like we said, like him throwing that out to Henry was more to like see if he's on the level. And I feel like he's throwing this line out with Kyle around to prove that Kyle isn't. So he does the ordinary fucking people thing again. He's like, I know that movie. The guy's brother drowns. I never saw the movie Ordinary People, so I didn't get that.
Me either.
If they didn't say that that was a movie, I wouldn't have got it at all.
It's a weird,
Did you see
dark.
Repo Man?
It's
yeah,
a
we
weird,
talked
dark.
about that bit a million
Yeah.
years ago.
Oh.
Ordinary People's like a weird, dark Robert Redford movie where like a guy's brother commits suicide, and it's just like a. It's weird that he would see that movie and not know Repo Man. You know what I mean?
And these two are going back and forth now, Kyle and Roman a little bit, and it's just kind of, I don't know. They live in the same world, right? Like entertainers, like actor, writers, but like they not close enough, and
Just two very different worlds.
It's kind of like Silicon Valley, how he also is at war with was it Dinesh?
Yeah, but who's like also low key his best friend though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Jin Yang.
Yes.
When Jin Yang puts himself saying "fuck you" on the refrigerator, I think that's one of the funniest moments in television history.
What's his name's Jimmy?
He's a
Jimmy
comedian.
Wang
He's
Yang.
super funny.
Jimmy O Yang. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
really funny comedian too. Actually,
Jimmy Wang Yang was a pro wrestler.
Wrestler. I'm a redneck.
Oh man, it's been a long time since I thought of that.
We do find out in this exchange between the two that Roman's like, he wrote a script. And he's like, because Kyle's like, I don't know, he's getting on like, oh, like you think you're all high and mighty because you wrote this script about worms. He's like, wormholes. You ever heard of physics?
Hard
But
sci-fi.
But I feel like that's almost one of those things where it kind of like put Roman at the level too, because that's not like that cool either. So it's like it kind of gave Kyle a little bit of a leg up, so he's not just getting dumped on the whole time.
No, I get it. If somebody was like, I love Repo Man, you'd be like, yeah, that's a great movie that I know people of all different types of backgrounds really enjoy. It's like, I wrote a movie about wormholes. You're like, you have just entered into a very different phase here now.
Yeah, that's when like all those people that were on your side go, cool.
Oh, wormhole is awesome. One thing too they do talk about is that he's getting cast in a movie called The Palisades. Obviously it's a fake movie, but I was like, that's such a good name for a movie. They have to have made something. And if you look it up, there is a 2022 movie called The Palisades that is about the subtleties of female friendship. And I do not think that he has been cast in that movie.
Most likely not. And not, especially when you heard his accents and stuff. But Ron walks up and he's like kind of breaking up. He sees all the employees just chatting at this point. So he's trying to get everyone back to work. And as everyone's kind of dispersing, one of them asks like, oh, you want me to like haul this trash out into the street? He's like, no, there's a compactor in the kitchen. Like they can have one of their Mexicans take it out in the morning. So
it's such a fucking great subtle callback
so
to his
smart
earlier
because
thing. Yeah.
he went to this racial sensitivity thing. He finds out that Mexican is not a racial term, but doesn't understand that it's still not okay to just say one of the Mexicans will take care of it. Like,
yeah. No, he
Like
he might need to go
Yeah.
back.
yeah, he still
It's
doesn't
funny that like a
understand
word can
context.
be not racist unless you put emphasis on it a certain way or say it a certain way. You know what I mean? Like it's such an interesting thing about the English language.
So after that, when everyone leaves the bar, a woman walks up. And this is the Office reference. It's like, that's Elizabeth the stripper. She like appeared in the Office 3 different times.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Yes. You might know her as a nurse. She had a few roles.
Oh, you went back to school?
She made the finale too when he's ordering,
Yeah.
he's trying to order like the olive loaf or whatever it was for the table, and she's trying to
Just
dance.
doesn't get it.
And she's trying to order a white wine, and she's very flirty as soon as she sees Henry. And she's like the next one to be like, I know you. Like, you look familiar. He just won't acknowledge why everyone seems to recognize him. And when she walks off, Kyle's like, MILF action. It's like, that's the only real perk of the job.
MILF action, nice. I love saying nice after something sexual is so much funnier than not saying nice after something sexual.
And he gets into, Kyle hypes himself up. This is when he's telling Henry that he's an actor. And also, have you heard of Karma Rocket? That's my band. He goes, I do some modeling stuff too. And Henry's like, so you're like in the overall Hansen business? He's like, yeah.
It is fun to be like, yeah, I understand exactly where I'm at right now.
And he's trying to ask Henry if he's also in acting. And he's like, no, not really. He's like, who's your agent? And he goes, State Farm. He's like, awesome. They give you some good auditions and stuff. He's so dumb.
He's so dumb. I was like, oh, I'm in bartending. He's like, oh, awesome. Where? Like, it's sweet and stupid at the same time.
I wanted to defend that one. For all the dumb things he said, I felt like that could have been justified because it's this dude's first day on the job, and there's a high chance that people who work this job have other jobs. So it was very possible that he was a bartender. So I'll give him credit for that one, but I did like the way that conversation rolled.
I'll say this, he's dumb, but he's on that line of like, it's okay. He's not that too dumb to function dumb that I hate on these shows. Like, how did you get dressed in the morning dumb?
Right,
yeah.
And I will say, I want to add this. We've talked about a million different merch things, and we talked about when we did Free Spirit, there was that the band Pond Scum.
It will happen.
I think that we need to make just a line, like a whole line that's just dedicated to fake bands from like obscure references and like not even like the popular ones. Forget the Wild Stallions and the Lone Rangers. We need to make Pond Scum.
We can do those too, though.
We could do those as well. We probably need to do those to flush.
I was gonna say you don't really want to pigeonhole yourself in.
But then
if you want to go TV bands too, there's tons of them.
Karma
Jesse
Rocket,
and the Rippers.
There needs to be a Karma Rocket shirt too. Then.
Big Daddy
What about
and
the
monkey
pun?
puppets?
What about the Pond Scum Karma Rocket World Tour?
Well, there's going to be a Pond Scum, but I think maybe not lump it all together. But
man, if they toured together, can you imagine?
If we do movies too, we have to obviously put in the Jolly Green Giants and the Shitty Beatles.
Shitty Beatles is definitely.
So it's not just a clever name.
So it's not just the Beatles after 1965.
So the next scene, we cut to Henry outside. He's having a cigarette, and Casey walks by on the phone. And you do hear her mention, like, what would I do in Burlington, like, during that conversation? But she's clearly arguing with someone. And that Burlington thing, I think, should be noted, because that's another one of those, you wouldn't have flagged it in the moment, but it makes sense down the road.
Also, if anybody's not been to Burlington before, Burlington's, like, a pretty hip, big town. Like, it does make sense for what she's saying.
When you call it big.
It's a town that where stuff's happening. It's an all college town where like that happens, and that would make sense for her to do a residency there.
Oh, sure, yeah, it does, but it's
not big. No, it's a small town. I mean, you can walk through the city part of it in 10 minutes, but it's full of 10,000 people because there's like 3 colleges there.
Burlington's nice. I like it there.
Yeah, Burlington's
really
cool.
I like it. It's nice, but
you guys ever walk on Lake Champlain?
When it's frozen?
Yeah. No, when
I've
it's
only been there
water,
in the
Jesus.
summertime.
It's really cool.
No, I pooped in the outhouse though by it.
Oh, that's what you're supposed to do in them. Yeah.
That's what they're.
I mean, I guess that's accurate. Yeah.
There's also probably, 50 bathrooms you could have used at the
like
storefronts and restaurants.
From Boston, if you guys ever are going to Canada and you want to drive just to do like a nice drive, the way up through Vermont and Lake Champlain is probably one of the prettiest drives to get to Montreal.
Yeah, you can. What is it? Across Lake Champlain
I-90.
is that upstate New York or is that Canada?
You go upstate New York Vermont, upstate New York to Vermont you cross over about an hour south of Montreal, I think.
Is that an option when you're doing like Google Maps? Like you could select the less tolls road and then the prettiest roads.
I mean, I think you have to just like pick a place in there first, and then you make the second destination. I don't think pretty is an option.
So another thing I want to mention while she's on the phone too is you hear her saying like, Mike, do not come here. Like, it's kind of how that phone call closes. And when she hangs up, she's crossing paths with Henry and they're talking outside. And she's like saying like, hey, like, I know I don't really know you, but can you help me out with something? And he's like, boyfriend trouble. And that's when she corrects him and says, husband trouble. So now we've already have this kind of will they, won't they vibe between the two, but we find out she's like full on married already.
But to a psycho who's calling
Yes,
her
we're
and showing up
already-
at her work multiple times.
We've been introduced to this character twice so far, both times over the phone, but he's already not likable, right? Because all they do is argue.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing chemistry between these two, but we know that she's not meant to be with her husband. So all that framework is like falling into place.
Maybe the
Yeah.
husband's not wrong though. She's already flirting with this other guy. Maybe she sucks.
That is a good point. But one led to the other. You can imagine that if their relationship was better, that she wouldn't be flirting, right?
Yeah.
But even in a situation like that, it's better to just cut ties than to like show up at somebody's work.
And
That's
also,
a
yeah,
I will
that's
say
crazy.
at this point, I wouldn't say the two of them are really flirting. I just think they are having a natural connection to one another, but no one's really crossing any lines.
No, they just have good chemistry. But there is, I think there's the germ is being planted in both their heads.
Yeah, but like I wouldn't say like even much flirting has happened, if anything, at this point.
No, I mean it's not out and out flirting. I don't think. No.
And
No, I would consider it just being friendly.
yeah, but she's asking him like, "Hey, he might show up here, and like that's going to become like a huge issue." And Ron's already like on my ass. So like, if you see this pissed off 30-ish guy with brown hair, like, can you give me a heads up?
Can I just say that the reveal, he doesn't have brown hair.
I was
wrote
gonna
that
say the
down.
same thing.
Yeah, very light hair.
Yep.
He's like, if it's brown hair, it's like the earliest stage of brown from blonde. And I did write that down when you see him because it was like the only thing she mentioned about him is his hair color, and they didn't cast that.
You wouldn't have
No.
tagged that guy as him. You'd have assumed he was another
Nope.
party goer because he had
Yeah.
blonde hair.
That is definitely a case of not editing the script after the casting. And
I wonder why she told him where the catering job was. This is the kind of shit he does. It's better if he doesn't know.
yeah, maybe I don't know. I
Maybe
don't think
he-
he dropped her off. I was thinking
Mm.
about that, but
Oh,
they were on the phone
maybe.
when she got there, so who knows? I really like the exchange they're having here too because she's like, "I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name." He's like, "That's funny. People usually remember it." She's like, "Why is that?" He says, "It's Scrotum Phillips." And
No, this is when I thought of Gordo. I was like, I don't think Gordo's seen this show. I bet he'll laugh at this.
I
Did
see.
you
I
laugh?
thought of Jay. I thought Jay would find this.
I
funny.
thought of Jay.
well, Jay did find it very funny, so that was good on you to think that. And I just thought his overall delivery there was like very good. Like he had like a charm to him when he said it. Whenever you can tell a scrotum joke and it comes off like charming and not gross, like good on him.
How many scrotum jokes come off as charming, though?
One.
One,
You just saw it,
that's
yeah.
the point, yeah. Although I did think about having a band once called Scrotation Marks. You guys heard
Hard,
that
Cool.
one?
hard merch to make.
You guys not catch that one?
Well, we caught it.
That was a Parks and
Nope,
Rec
it
reference.
was-
I do like that he was.
Who made
I
that
noticed right
reference?
away
Andy,
that
that
he
was one of the potential band names for Mouse Rat.
Well, there's a billion
Yeah,
potential.
yeah, he does
That's
say a
true,
lot, and
yeah.
I only
I
ever
don't
remember
remember that
nothing
that
rhymes
much.
with orange and everything rhymes with orange.
It's also noted at this point that he's smoking Parliaments, and
It was weird because I noticed it right away too.
it was the
I
first
did. I
thing
saw
noticed.
the blue and white pack. Yeah.
And I'm so glad that it was brought up because as soon as the scene started, I noticed that he was smoking Parliaments because my mom used to smoke Parliaments. My brother used to smoke Parliaments.
I love
Nick
Parliament.
and
My
Gordo.
sister did.
I love
Yeah.
Parliament.
And there was a point in time. It's funny now because none of us are cigarette smokers now, but me, my mother, and brother all were years ago. At that time, they both smoked Parliaments, and I hated them so much. And even
The
if I
filter's
was out,
weird.
It was
even
like
if I was
plastic
out of
instead of
cigarettes,
paper.
but the
Yeah.
taste was different. So if I was out of cigarettes and like my mom would be like, "Do you need one?" I would refuse them because I just didn't like them at all.
What cigarettes did you smoke, Jay?
It varied. I started smoking Camel Reds
Yeah,
because of
Camel
Kevin
Reds for a
Smith.
while.
And then I eventually, like the end of my cigarette smoking run, I was just Marlboro Reds.
Okay. For some reason, I also thought you were a Lucky Strike guy.
That would have been
I-
more Joe.
Yeah,
if
I smoked
anything.
them, but not the unfiltered ones. The Lucky Strike filters. I
Yeah,
smoked.
yeah. Back when
Yeah.
they had those.
They're back again.
I think they
but
have them back. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
The
back
filtered
now.
ones? Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
had a
they brought 'em
cigarette in
back.
a long, long time now.
I'm trying to quit. but I have moved on to the American Spirits for a couple of years now, and I haven't had like a non-American Spirit one. Oh, our friend Doug actually, he like traded one because he smoked what I used to smoke, which was Marlboro 27s, and I couldn't believe how quick a cigarette
my
goes
God,
when
yeah.
it's got the chemicals in it when you're not used to it, and how head high I was for like 2
I
minutes.
will say, I know American Spirits have a lot less crap in them, but it's that weird justification is almost like, well, this is like a healthier way to smoke. Like,
Oh yeah, it's the most insane bullshit lie you tell yourself. But it is certainly different when you then have like a regular cigarette again. You're like, wow, I'm fucking high, and that took about 13 seconds to smoke. This is crazy.
That's like me drinking a diet Pepsi and be like, oh, it's diet.
It's healthy. Yeah.
It's good for you.
I wanted to bring up too, this conversation is also when we, I think, officially hear that she's a comedian by trade. I think there's like small references to it earlier, but that is brought up here.
I like that little difference that she's not an actor or screenwriter. She's doing something outside of that.
Yeah,
like
but
it's
they're all
still show
still in
business,
this-
but it's different.
It's all in that world, right? They all want to be in the entertainment industry. None of them like are aspiring to be anything else except for Ron, who just wants to be like the best caterer on earth.
But also, like, I find that commendable too. Like, I don't know, man. If you want to be the best caterer on earth, like, good for you. That rules. Like, go do it. You know.
I mean, it's like, I would say I don't want to say safest, but it's probably the most realistic dream out of all of them, right? Because he's like, it's within his, like, he's like, can almost touch it at this point.
I mean, we
He's
all
like-
have regular, boring ass jobs, and I know that we all work a billion hours. You all, I mean, if you're a regular person, you try to be the best you can be at your regular job.
Oh yeah.
But you don't make it your whole personality. That's the issue.
This scene is also very important because this is the first time someone who recognizes Henry realizes how they recognize Henry, but they don't tell us yet. So Casey's like, wait a minute. And all she has to say is, you're that guy. And he's like, yep.
Do you imagine
like-
living life, though, where you were once that guy and people just see you constantly and, like, you were that guy?
And
That's
at
gotta
that
be...
point, for me, my intrigue is like through the roof now because they keep referencing it. And now it's like, what the fuck is he? Like, I really didn't think we were going to get the reveal. I'm kind of happy we did, but also I think they could have that could have been like a never ever tell us thing
I was
too.
gonna
Like
say,
they
it
coulda-
should have never come out because it really didn't matter.
Yeah, this could have went on for like all of the first 2 seasons, come back. Like, you could have never told us and just made it like one of these like big mysteries.
No, I kind of liked it because it revealed it, and then you don't know kind of if he's going to come back to it or, you know, how that's going to follow him.
I do really like that. I think the actually only really, like, heartfelt part of this whole episode is when he says to her, he's like, well, do you remember me from anything else?
Yes.
Like, that is another piece of really great writing that's not comedy writing. It's like just
Right.
perfect writing. It's serious and it's
It's
kind
like,
of
and that's why he's not acting. It's like, yeah, like he's known for this, like this one thing.
Yeah, I really liked that line.
From there, we cut back to the party and like we're outside by the pool and like they're having awards. And I forget the exact name of this episode, but I think it is important to remember that even though it's like being like hosted at this one private house, but it really is a more like
It's a
function.
neighborhood party.
Yeah, it is a neighborhood thing.
It's Willow Canyon Homeowners Annual Party. I have it up
Right.
when I was looking up something earlier.
So yeah, so it's like it's not really this couple's party per se, and they're doing these awards, and it's like best Christmas decorations go to the Wisemans, and I was like,
You track it immediately, right? Where it's like it's an obviously
Yeah.
very Jewish name, so you
Yeah.
know the joke is right there. Yeah.
well, to me, the first thing I thought of was the 3 Wisemen.
Well,
That
I immediately
too.
think too of Jane Lynch. That one of the funniest jokes she has in all of A Mighty Wind is that she worked for a porn company that was run out of a sex shop by 3 brothers, and it was called the 3 Wisemans. And they like cut to a clip of it, and it's so fucking stupidly funny. And I wondered if this was maybe in reference to that because this is right after Mighty Wind.
I do like that we catch, like, I think it was on like found footage kind of from the camcorder. The neighbor who's like talking to his wife is like, "We lost Jews."
He's like, we
Christmas
lost Christmas to
decorations.
Jews.
Ferg, I mean, you're kind of, well, actually, funny. I guess I was going to mention, Ferg, you were like actively in the competition for decorations for Christmas and Halloween, right? They were doing both at the
No,
time.
I never did the Christmas.
Never
I always
submitted
did
Christmas?
the Halloween.
And I
You've
was
won Halloween, though, right?
Yeah.
You won Halloween.
Yeah, I voted for you for things before.
He juiced those numbers. He cheated.
Not.
Just creating Facebook accounts.
They were popularity contests.
You
Ferg,
think
you
I'm
did
so
an amazing
popular,
job.
eh?
I do want to say this. In fairness, I do want to give him his flowers. Ferg did an amazing job decorating his house.
Yeah, you go all
Thank
out.
you.
Seriously, how much money do you think you spent on that?
Well, when I started doing this, I gave up getting birthday presents. So every year now I get Home Depot cards. So those go towards the new animatronics every year.
Do we point out though that the irony is that your birthday is the day after Halloween?
Yeah.
Gotta wait the whole year.
Well, that's actually
thanks.
genius though, because you get
Buy
them
it all
half
on
price.
clearance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
That's
go
true, yeah.
go on number first, buy them half price, put them in the garage.
But my house actually, when I was a kid, we won an award for Christmas decorations. We had to like accept it in
remember
some
that.
weird like public television like thing, but it was at town hall.
That's such a small town thing. Like, oh, and we're gonna do it on the local access channel, and you have to come out here and accept it. Like, why though?
We haven't like gone all out with Christmas lights in some time, and I keep feeling like I need to do it one of these years, especially with my niece being younger and stuff. But boy, is it a lot of work.
You got a good yard for it.
You have a good
Yeah,
yard
we used
for
to
it,
do a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you got a bunch of bushes, a bunch of pillars on your porch and stuff. You got
Well, we
Yeah.
got to be careful. I don't want to get too. 'Cause the people listening are like, okay, get on with it. But when it snows, we have to park in the yard, so I can't like fill my yard with like animatronics and stuff because at some point we're gonna have to get cars in there, and you never know when the snow's gonna hit.
This year we already put them out, but we bought bush net lighting.
Oh yeah, like you just kind of.
Those are great. I have a ton of those.
Yeah, so we just bought like 4 for each bush, and like you clip them together, and just like the funny thing is though, it looks like such garbage in the daytime. You walk
That it's
by, and you're like,
beautiful.
it's so disgusting. My yard looks terrible, and then at night you're like, that is a beautiful array of lights,
Yeah.
and it's so good. The second the lights are out, though, it's awful.
Joe, have you found your corrugated reindeer
Yes, I know you didn't steal them, Gordo.
this year?
You're gonna steal them this year?
Yes.
I'd honestly be more offended if you drove an hour and a half up to my house to steal my deer and didn't just like at least knock on the door and get a cup of coffee with me. Like I'd be really bummed out if you did all of that and then
I
just
don't-
didn't hang.
Joke's on you. Joe has real deer now and moose.
That's true.
True.
Be careful. You might get trampled.
The joke was last time I was up in your area of town, I was going to go by your house, beep, and then I was going to moon you and then just drive off and not say anything.
I would like to hope that your wife would do the dirty work thing and then just park the car and throw the keys out the window.
I've said this before. I think to this day, nothing has made me laugh harder in a movie theater than that scene in Dirty Work. 'Cause it
Dirty
just-
Work is one of the funniest films of all time.
It caught me so off guard that I was like in shock and I was just in hysterics laughing. So
Also, the response of Artie Lang just being like, he was supposed to keep driving.
supposed to keep
It's
driving, yeah.
so fucking great.
So to get back into this, like the next award is best mailbox, and that's when the hosts actually win that one, the people hosting the party. And she's super excited about it, and he could give a fuck. And he actually does that, and I don't think he heard Roman say it, but he does that whole like ordinary fucking people thing, which
Yeah.
I thought was really cool. And I'll say this, and I can't wait to talk about him later in this episode, but I was bummed. I looked it up. This is the only episode he's ever in because he's just like
Yeah.
part of this family doing the thing. And I almost kind of wish like the storyline was he hated his fucking life and quit and joined the catering company or something. Like,
Well, I mean, not to get further into the show, but that's what's cool about this show is that they invest in those one-off characters.
Yeah.
Like they're not just like
Every
you know
episode's
whatever
a different
actors.
event.
I mean, sometimes they are, but they invest in those people that are only in one episode, and I think that's what makes the show really good.
but I would have liked more of him. And it was like
Yeah, he's
a
just
bummer
great.
to know that he's not going to come back because his character was so great. She's the wife's accepting the award and she's like thanking her real estate agent. Well, she's like, I'd like to thank my agent, my real estate agent, and like these
Oh, the
fucking
worst.
just these corny yuppie jokes and everyone's laughing. And
Also, that means they have a homeowners association, which means they're paying a lot of money because you're not just paying mortgage, you're paying an HOA every month.
Criminals.
Yeah, that is a criminal. That's some criminal enterprise bullshit.
we cut inside and we see Roman on the phone. And I want to say I think specifically because Kyle ran off with that girl that he had eyes for, I think out of jealousy is why he's making this call.
Oh, 100%. That's it. Yeah.
So now he's calling Kyle leaving a voice message pretending to be the guy who watched his audition. And he's like, oh, we thought it was amazing, but we made a character choice that we want to just let you know about. So like, moving forward, like if you're to read, like keep this in mind. And we don't get to find out what that is just yet because Casey walks in and he like nervously like goes, I'll call you back, and like hangs up.
I kind of was under the impression that he made up the whole scheme, the whole movie from the beginning, and was fucking with him because he hadn't even auditioned yet. At the start, he's going over lines for his audition.
Oh, see, I took this at. Well, I guess
it
that's
it
possible.
could be either way.
Yeah, I
I'm just
took it
saying
as
that's
him
how
just trying to sabotage it now, but I guess either way would work.
Because they seem to be mortal enemies from like
we don't know how. I don't know his character enough yet to know how elaborate he would go. Right? If this was the Office, that's something Jim would do. Right? Like plan something out for months and months. I don't know if that's how Roman acts.
No, that makes sense because this whole like movie scene kind of confused me when I was watching it. Like, what was he talking about? And then like the reveal for it also confused me as well. Like, I don't know if how far ahead that is.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a few. Because from here we cut back to outside, and this is we referenced it earlier. Ron's outside with a bunch of kids, and he's trying to impress them with like all these bottle tricks, like as if he's in the movie Cocktails. And he was good at it, right? He was very good at spinning these bottles.
He was very good.
Like, did the actual actor have experience in this beforehand? Did he learn it just for the show, or was he like on the side? This was like a talent he had because he worked in bars.
Could it be a double? Do they ever show his face while the bottle's spinning?
Pretty sure, yeah.
I think they do.
The whole shot's on him.
Also, remember, these are all real actors, right? And it's very possible that some of them were in this industry before they became big. So, maybe he does actually just know it from doing it for real.
That's what I feel like the situation is.
I figure a lot of this show is based on experience of them all going through that.
So he's doing this for, like I said, a group of young kids who don't drink cocktails. So until one of the kids like fucking stabs him in the leg. What did he stab him with?
It was like a dart or something.
Yeah.
I missed that part. Okay.
Like a pin the tail on the donkey
dart. I thought it was like maybe like a pin the tail on the donkey type of situation. And he lets out this fucking scream, and it makes him break one of the glass bottles.
Died laughing at that.
He doesn't even have a spare shirt now because of it.
That's all like that's all that great writing, right? It all comes into play. This bottle, which we're to assume is red wine, was it actually full of thick paint? The way that like
no, it looks like
no, it looked like a liqueur.
I thought it was
like what the fuck is it called? It's just like the maraschino cherry juice.
Painted his shirt.
Grenadine.
Grenadine, thank you. That's what. Yes, grenadine.
But even then, it transformed his shirt in a way that.
Well, I mean, also that was an after effect, but grenadine's very thick.
It's a horror movie shirt. All of a sudden, he looks like he's in a different type of show.
Yeah, it's like it's a deep, like thickly colored, like splatter all over.
When he's walking down that little alley next to the house right after this go, and he's just like, fuck, I fucking lost it.
just repeatedly yelling fuck.
And to go back on what Jay said earlier, I thought this was going to be the relapse moment where
me too.
Like booze got on him.
Take something and just completely goes nuts.
I was just reminded of one of Ron's relapse.
I feel like, and I don't even know if it would have been in this episode, but I felt like maybe because I already had it in my head, so I'm trying to write it. I'm like, what's going to happen is he's going to eventually take a drink by accident. Like that's what I felt like was going to happen. He'd be at one of these parties and pick up what he thought was his cup, but it was someone else's cup and it was full of booze. Like that's what I thought would happen.
I forget how it happens.
As he's walking down, we cut back into like in the house and we're in like the laundry room area, which ironically is not where he's heading with the stained shirt, which is what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
But we see Kyle and that daughter are in there together. And she's like very smitten by this kid. And he's, like he does with anyone, not just girls, he just starts talking himself up. And he's talking about like the song he wrote. It's like, oh yeah, it's called You Stained Me or Mind Jail. I haven't decided yet.
Mind Jail. This song he sings too is like the worst like Nickelback butt rock song of that era. It's so fucking perfect.
It was pretty good, and I don't remember the cadence at which it was saying, so I can't even replicate it, but...
I said at the beginning, I just thought the lyric, "You stain me like Shakespeare said, doth thou," is so fucking funny. That's so stupidly, like, trying to write, like, you're meaningful and deep. It's very well done.
He did say that he was a Shakespeare fan earlier in the episodes.
He did.
And then we cut to Ron, who's in one of the bathrooms, and he's trying to clean up. And now because he gave his spare shirt to Henry, he's wearing Henry's wrinkled shirt from earlier, which the counter effect is Henry can wear Ron's shirt and it just looks puffy on him. Henry looks like the Hulk. I'm sorry, Ron looks like the Hulk when he's wearing Henry's shirt because it's way too small for him.
The shirt roulette in this episode is, I think, the funniest part of the whole episode. You can't get the neck. And I will say this, too. Like, everybody here, I'm sure, has been in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
You were wearing a button-up shirt, like, for a wedding or something that does fit you. You have to put a tie on, and it fits you perfectly, except for that neck button. And you were really struggling.
I mean, literally,
I've definitely had some bigger knot
that...
ties before to cover it.
He also realizes that there's like a stain on his pants, which he didn't realize at first, so he pulls out like this Tide stick that
which gets brought up in the very beginning.
Another
earlier.
callback.
It's a callback to earlier because he does help the woman who owns the place like get a stain out of her. Oh, the mustard.
The
stain,
mustard.
Mustard stain.
Yeah, and
now,
so,
why would you use a Tide stain on black pants?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It'll make the pants orange.
we're just going for the gag here at this point, but yeah, so
the gag is worth it.
Yeah, so he's like trying to like clean off his pants now, and while this is happening, all of a sudden the daughter and Kyle bust into the bedroom, and they're making out, and we realize that like the bathroom he's in is the bathroom attached to her bedroom.
And you can sort of see it when he's first in there. You can see
it in
into
the background.
You see a teenage girl's room with posters. There's a really cool Lemonheads poster on the wall.
So now these two are making out, and then all of a sudden they notice Ron, and his back's to them, and it just looks like he's feverishly masturbating over the
furiously
sink.
jerking off.
Yes. I died at this. This is like, I lost it laughing at this scene.
It was like,
What were you doing? I was rubbing something out.
Yeah.
I used a stick on your mom this morning. She thought it was amazing. Like every fucking little.
it was
beat
all
of
very
this.
clever. It was all like, it's all very crass and crude humor, but it was done in such a smart way. And she's like going to tell her mom, and he's like, "Listen to me, little girl. I have too much at stake here." He goes, "If you tell your mom, I'll just destroy you."
Simple as that.
And it works.
Well, I thought like the actual way they should have handled this was that mutual, you don't tell your mom about this, and I don't tell your mom about what I'm seeing you do right now. Like,
You're up here with a
I thought that was going to be
clearly
like that
older boy.
mutual compromise where they both go, let's both walk away from the situation and ignore what we just saw.
No,
Yeah,
instead
that
of
would
you
make
tell
more
anyone, I'll
sense.
fucking kill you.
Yeah, so he just gets so dark with it.
Instead of, threatening to murder this girl.
And also, don't forget, she still is not under the impression that he used a Tide pen. She
Right.
thinks he is saging up there.
Yeah,
and just
there was never a
jaying
point.
off.
Yeah, there was no reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's exiting this whole situation thinking she watched this guy jack off in her bathroom.
And then he's going to kill her.
Yeah.
He tells everybody he'll muck duck her.
After he leaves, it's like her and Kyle standing there, and she just goes, "So are we having fun yet?" And that's when like the light bulb goes off for Kyle. He's like, "Wait a minute." And we cut downstairs, and it's the guy who owns the house again is at the bar talking to Henry. They're going back and forth, and it's kind of both of them are jealous of the other, right? They both want what each other has, because the homeowner is like, his life is so like mundane, and he's like, "I used to be crazy. I used to do all these things. I haven't done anything unexpected since Cancun." And Henry's like, "Yeah, but you have a house and a family. Like," he's like, "I'd do anything for that." He's like, "You want to trade lives?" He's like, "Do you know anything about estate law?" He's like, "Nope." Well, that's
I just like that he genuinely goes, bummer. Like he
Yeah.
thought they might
Like
actually be able to trade lives for a day.
Like that's
He
all
thought
they
there
had to
might
do.
be
As
a
long
yes hiding in
as
there.
long as he knows estate law, they can.
Yeah, they
literally
could
flip the
actually
switch.
do a body swap.
And as they're having the conversation, that's when Kyle runs in, and he does the, "Are we having fun yet?" Like, and we only know this because the girl said something earlier. He's like, "Dude, that's where I know you. You were that guy." And like, it come to find out that Henry's big thing, the reason people keep recognizing him is he was part of like a beer ad campaign, and had like a catchphrase.
That's their version of "What's up?"
Yeah, so he
what's
was,
up?
like,
Or like
he was
bitter
that
beer
guy.
face or whatever. Like, but would you recognize, or like, remember the Dr. Galley-Wickets? Like the "Yes, I am." Like, if you saw that guy now in the street, would you recognize him so easily? I wouldn't.
Well,
I don't
that's
even
why.
recognize what you said.
But that's why no one. They all like it flags you, but you can't place it, and that's what would happen with any of them. You know what I mean?
Sure, real quick, Cordo. You don't remember the "Yes, I am" commercials? Those were huge. Those were like Super Bowl commercials.
No.
It was a Budweiser commercial where a guy would get himself into weird situations, and then he'd find out there was Budweiser involved, and he'd be like, "Yes, I am." So the first one was he was going to a limousine, and it has a name on it, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Galakowitz, or Dr. Galley-Wickets." And he's like, "Oh, didn't you mean Dr. Galakowitz?" He's like, "Yes, I am." It was like a 5-year-long Budweiser thing.
Nope.
I don't
Anybody
even
else remember
that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember that one either.
Ferg
but
does.
Maybe
okay,
if I
feel
saw
good. Like,
one-
I didn't dream this, did I?
If
If
you
I
guys
saw
all
one,
remembered
maybe.
it, I was gonna stay quiet.
Ferg and I do, so there's 2 at least. Listeners, if you
we
remember the
have-
"Yes, I
we
am"
have
Dr.
stupid
Galley-Wickets
brains,
commercials, let Ferg and I know.
But they're going over it, and like now everyone else is like the party goers too are like, "Oh yeah, like say it," and you know, they're saying, "Are we having fun yet?" And the owner's like, "I'm not having fun yet. Make it a double." He's like, "You got it." And that's when Ron walks up and is like, "The hostess specifically requested no doubles, 1 jigger only." He's like, "What?" And it gets like the whole room gets really quiet, and he goes, "I don't want you serving them 2 jiggers."
It's fucking bananas.
And as it stands, the man who he bumped into earlier,
The fried chicken
who
remark.
he didn't want to say anything about fried chicken was standing there with his wife, and they just give him that look, and they're like, and they just get out of there. Like,
Yeah, they
just walk
leave.
out.
As you would. As
Yeah.
you would fucking do. You would fucking leave.
And what's Adam Scott's retort?
It's a gin rose.
Yeah,
No.
he says, I believe the preferred
Oh.
term is
Yeah,
Jigos.
Jig Rose. During pandemic, my work was trying to do a bunch of stuff to like get people together virtually, and one of the things they did for our team was they did they sent us a bunch of stuff from a bartending class. So you got like jiggers and the lime squeezy thing I mentioned earlier. It's from that class, and like all this stuff. And then we paid for some like virtual bartender to teach us how to do stuff. And at one point he said, "You don't want to do 2 jiggers," and I fucking died and like had to mute it, and nobody had any idea what I was talking about. Nobody had any idea what I was laughing. The only thing that was any funnier than that when the guy was like, "Would you follow me on Instagram?" And everyone said yes, and I looked at it, I was like, "No." And he just like sadly was like, "Okay, keep going, man."
I've been
So,
making my own Negronis lately and using
Oh.
jigger to do. I thought it was really weird. Like I've never used a jigger in my life, and then the 2 days leading up to this episode, I have now used them a bunch of times.
I feel like once you're like if you're making just drinks for yourself, like if I'm making a mixed drink, I always just go like, "That's enough alcohol," whatever. Like you
Yeah, yeah.
eyeball it because it's not like you're not over serving somebody. But if
You're
somebody was like, "Hey,
over-serving
can you make me a
yourself."
cocktail?" Well, yeah, obviously. I'm not gonna
It ruins
underserve
a-
myself. What am I, hard of serving?
When I worked for the catering company, all that time ago, which you brought up, I used to steal them from, and I would put
Little
them in
spinny
my,
ones?
I would put them in my Cokes. And mind you, I was like 17. I wasn't a little kid. I was.
It's like we're missing like 17 jiggers and 12 jars of maraschino cherries, and we don't know who the person is who did this.
So during all this weird bar stuff, it just so happens that Henry spots who he suspects is Casey's husband, like, from afar. So now he's, like, running outside to stop him from confronting her. And when he walks out, he's like, "Hey, man, can I help you?" He's like, no, I'm looking for, never mind. And he's like, "I'm her husband." And Henry's trying to stop it. And he's like, "Hey, like, you know, her boss has really been riding her today. Like, how about you just, like, go out front and wait, and I'll send her out to meet you out there."
It's such a good friend move for them not being good friends yet to like run interference
Yeah.
this hard for her, you know?
And in fairness, he's not like saying you can't talk to her. He's saying like, "Hey, just so she doesn't get in trouble at work, like, how
Right,
about
maybe not right
Yeah,
here, man.
he has a good compromise.
we do it outside of the party." Yeah, it's like it's a very fair thing. Like I'll send her out to talk to you. But
just don't get her fired for yelling at her or get into an argument next to the pool. Yeah.
Yeah, and as they're having like this interaction, like he like walks by him and he doesn't like push him or anything, but like just walking by him kind of like gets Henry's footing off and he ends up going into the pool.
Yeah, it's interesting because he doesn't out and out push him to a point where you'd be like mad at him for being a shithead for
Yeah,
pushing
he,
him.
wa-
It's
he
more of an
walks
accident.
through him. He didn't intend to throw him in the pool, but it was his actions that made
Right,
him fall
he's
in.
the reason he fell in, but he doesn't
Yeah,
like
but it
flat
wasn't
out
super
turn and
intentional,
double push
but-
him or anything.
But he does beeline it to his wife after that, and you can, as he's going to the pool, you can like already hear the two arguing from a distance. So they're arguing for a second, and that gets cut off when we see the guy from Just Shoot Me's dick.
Yeah, you do.
Yep.
And because we
That's
just
the
hear like,
beauty of it being on Stars. You get the cock.
we hear
Yeah, beauty of the pay
"Cannonball!"
channels.
And this guy just fucking storms from inside of his house out to the pool area and just fucking dives into his pool butt naked in the middle of this big party.
Yelling cannonball.
Oh, what? I'm the asshole.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's all like, come on, everyone. Like, let's get loose. Like, come on. And, like, you cut to everybody who's outside, and it's just dead silence. Everyone just staring at him. And he's so mad. Like,
So, okay, what do you think about this? Because I think that in the real world, you'd get at least one drunk person who'd be like, yeah, like with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that you'd be that singled out in that instance.
I
There's,
think that
No.
if
it's
you
70
no, no, no,
people
no,
at
no,
this
no.
party.
If he
There's
just
one
jumped in the
other
pool,
handpicked-
yes, but it's the fact that he jumped in the pool butt-ass naked.
yeah.
I think that's
no,
I
how
don't
you-
know. I don't think that's
I think
a
there might be
deal
one guy
breaker.
who had been overserved a little bit.
Well, it's a
I
lot
think-
of.
No doubles.
They're also at
No.
a party where, like, it's all, like, uptight couples and stuff
That's
like
what
that.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
but
say,
those
Jay.
people, when they get drunk, are the most fucked in the head. So you'd think at least one of them would be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, the
It's a
repressed
room
ones
of
are the most
people
wild.
that are overly concerned with what everyone else in the room thinks of them. I can understand why no one jumped in, but I do see your point. But I'm not shocked that no one came in
Yeah.
either.
And these are the kind of people that celebrated best mailbox competitions. So
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, they're not jumping in the pool butt naked.
To be fair, though, too, maybe somebody wanted to, and he was like, maybe I'll win the award for best cock. And the guy looked at him and was like, well, I don't want to not win the award for best cock, so I'm not
Yeah.
jumping in either.
Because that's right. That's, I mentioned at the top of the episode, that's when his wife comes out and goes, "Put your clothes on, Gordon. No one wants to see your penis. No one."
The second no one really hammers it home.
Yep.
Yes.
And when he was going on about that best cock award, he was like, it's like better than tidiest lawn or something mailbox or goddamn Christmas lights. And he's like going on like, and no blinking lights. You hear that, neighbors? No blinky. And he's like screaming, ordinary fucking people.
Again, homeowner associations. They're the devil.
It escaped me. Was that where the "you're already dead" line comes from too? Is that why you started screaming that? Is that also Repo Man?
I don't know.
No, you're already dead. It's not Reaper Man.
Because he started screaming that right after. I was like, is that also from Repo Man? Because
Is that
That's
the
a-
other movie?
Maybe.
Ordinary people.
Yeah.
from
Oh,
actual,
I don't
know.
think so.
But he
I
just
don't
kept
know.
screaming like, "You're already dead."
He could have just been singing
dead.
crass.
We cut to inside again, and Kyle's with Constance. Jesus.
Constantine.
And he just checked his phone. He's like, "Oh my god, that was Jim Tower." So they want me to read again for this role, but they changed the character a little bit. It's like, oh, so he's like, he's not going to be like, what was it like? How is it described? Like the vulnerable
Like a-
bad boy who's like new in town. It's like, oh no, he's still that, but now he's got nut cancer.
Nut cancer. He's
doing
going through
chemo.
chemo. I love
And
the idea that
Robocop.
that's what a Hollywood agent would describe it to an actor, and he doesn't track that as being off at all.
Yeah. Hey, Carl, Jim Powers. Loved your read. Would love to see you back, but just a heads up. We're gonna give the character nut cancer, so we're gonna need you to figure that one out.
It
Maybe
sounds
it
like
was
something Norm
worded
Macdonald would
better.
say. Be like, yeah, but now he's got nut cancer. Like it's not like a thing like a regular person would say.
Roman, who's the one who set this whole thing up, is like walking. He's like, dude, like, you know what you got to do? He's like, what? He's like, well, if you want it to be real, like, you got to lose your hair, like, everywhere. And she agrees. She's like, it's for your art, man. And this is when I know the term, but I guess I never completely understood what it meant, because he's like, everywhere, head, eyebrows, pubes. He goes soup to nuts. I know I've heard soup to nuts before, but I guess I never thought about what it meant.
I don't think soup to nuts means
That's not what it
mouth
means.
to
Did he use it wrong?
pubes.
Because I was like, is
No,
that
soup to nuts means everything, but it doesn't mean necessarily your hair on your body. It doesn't mean
Okay,
your
but soup-
nuts.
But soup to nuts means everything.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense then. He's
It's
saying he has to shave
derived
everything.
from the description of a full course dinner. I guess nuts is a dessert
end
in the
with nuts?
1930s. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, D's nuts.
okay.
You
Well,
gave it to him.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah, I'm a little mad that we actually just handed that to you on a platter.
Hey, this is from the quick Google. It's just funny that it comes out this way. Soup to nuts is an American English idiom that conveys the meaning of from beginning to end, derived from the description of a full course dinner. Soup to nuts may also refer to Soup to Nuts, a 1930 feature film starring the trio who later became the Three Stooges. Soup to Nuts, a 1980s or Soup to Nuts, a 1986 episode of Mama's Family.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Mama's Family. Ferg as well.
We are.
And the two of us being the two biggest fans of
I
Mama's
fucking
Family
hate you
actually
guys.
recently got to meet Vicki Lawrence, which was, Ferg, I don't know if I can speak for you as well, but for me, a lifelong dream.
That changed my life, man.
It was like, this is like a great moment.
Have to take that right off the bucket list.
I thought she was dead, honestly, until I saw her in person
True.
last
Was that
weekend.
because she was such a convincing old lady?
Yeah, I think that might have been it. Yeah.
Wow, she was like 80 years old in the 60s. So.
The 60s. That show's from the early 80s. Stop it. What a great show. And how dare you? I hope you were nice to her.
Biggest fan, of course.
Well, EJ farted on her that weekend.
I'm sorry. I'm just listening. Do we have a special guest? Is Lurch here? What is that noise I keep hearing?
Snap, snap.
He's like Sideshow Bob when he steps on the rake.
Why are there so many rakes?
So I do like, we get this quick shot of like everyone exiting the house, and the owner is just like, he's just sitting there alone, just smiling as everyone leaves. Like, and like you can only imagine the 80 million things going through his fucking drunk brain, and it was like, maybe he's like, now I'm free of all these people that no one's gonna want to be near me anymore. Like, maybe
And
this
like
is
possibly a
escape.
divorce.
Yeah, it was just that quick shot, and we immediately cut to Henry packing up the bar, and Casey walks up, and she's like, "Are we having fun yet? Or would you prefer we not do that?" He's like, "No, I love it." And then
And
he
now
says-
Henry's in the splatter shirt, by the way.
Yes, yeah, which was a nice, like, it's all coming full circle because
That's
now
so good. The
because he
shirt,
was in
the shirt
water,
logic of this episode is
yeah,
amazing.
now that he's in the water, he has to wear, not his shirt because, Ron took it. So now he has to wear the one that's covered in wine or paint or whatever it was that deeply stained
Why
that one.
is that the better option than a wet shirt? It's like the one that looks like you murdered someone, or
Also,
a wet
like, you can
shirt.
get away with, it's the end of, you could probably get away with no shirt. Everyone just saw the host dick. Like, you could probably
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good point.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, how come that some of my
Touche.
famous guy's wearing no shirt? Well, we just saw that guy's cock. Well,
Yeah,
I
like,
guess
I don't
it's
think
fine.
anyone's going to exit that party and go, and the bartender took his shirt off. Like, he says to Casey, "Hey, I'm sorry, I tried to stop him," talking about when her husband showed up. And he's like, maybe Ron was distracted by all that other shit going on. It's like, nope, he was not. He fired me. But I said I'd sue him, so I'm back on final warning. He's like, welcome back. And she thanks him for trying, and then again forgot his name. And I liked the honesty, because I was thinking about just in real life, I don't know if I would have had the balls to say that to somebody twice. I think I would just word around it at that point.
Champ.
I'd start calling you Chief.
Thanks,
Yeah.
dude.
I would just avoid the name thing until I heard someone address you by your name again.
Also, they just had that conversation. That's a bitch move that she forgot his name
You
again.
I
forget
feel
I
like
know it's supposed to
she-
be funny.
Was she doing that on purpose though? I couldn't tell either.
I think she
I don't
genuinely
think so.
forgot. It happens. Like, I've been.
It happens.
introduced to
I'm
people
way better
that-
at faces than names, personally.
Yes,
Me
but he
too.
was introduced to her. She forgot it once, and then he told her. That second time, him telling her, she should have never forgot it again because it's been brought up.
Well, geez, memory champ. So sorry.
Ferg takes his alpha brain. Our podcast is sponsored by AG Greens.
I mean, his name's Henry. It's not that hard.
Well, no, it didn't have to be. It'd probably be easy to remember if he had like a more eccentric name.
Like Neighborcock.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say too.
You wouldn't forget it.
She then says, so he got the job in Vermont. And he's like, really? So you don't need this job? Like, well, it was nice knowing you. And she's like, no, I'm going to keep this job, like, for now. You know, I'm going to keep it. And then so, like, obviously, like, if they're in LA and he got a job in Vermont and she's not leaving this job, are we to assume they're already talking divorce-ski or just, I'm not
Separation.
moving with you right now? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I think at least I'm not going with you to Vermont.
Well, that's a very tough long-distance relationship for a married couple.
I mean, you got to link it back to the conversation earlier when she says, like, what's there for me?
Which is fair. I mean, there's that point where I don't know what he does for work, right? But she's
No.
trying to get into an industry where she can only live in so many cities and, like, make that a living. And depending on what his is, like, I don't know too many industries that only exist in Vermont. So there might be opportunity for him to do it closer to where she can work, but...
Bernie Sanders campaign worker, Ben & Jerry's ice cream worker.
Well, you can work for Ben & Jerry's, not in Vermont. You just
Well,
can't
that's where
work
the
at
factory
main
is,
one.
though.
Yeah, you just can't work in the main one.
Are there other factories?
Cabot
I thought there was only one
cheese.
factory. Oh, Cabot cheese, the greatest cheese of all time.
I agree.
You know, they have a great
cheese.
rum.
Wait, say that again, Ferg?
I said I agree. Great cheese.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. The saddest thing, there's in Portland, Maine, there is a Cabot cheese store, and they have samples out
Ooh.
that you can try all the cheese, and it's amazing. But if you go there, the problem with cheddar cheese, which is amazing, is that after 2 hours, it gets, like, wilty and crystallized. So if you go there and you're in between cheese rotations, you're like, oh, I don't want to eat any of this. And they're like, try some. Because they want to get rid of it, and you just won't.
And you don't poop for a month.
Yeah, it's the best kind of food ever.
I can't wait to have cheese day.
Why, do you poop a lot?
No, I just like cheese. What's wrong with your brain? Like,
I've known you for a long time. You do, in fact, poop a lot.
me?
Yes,
I wouldn't say more than the average person.
I would.
Casey leaves that conversation. She's walking like down a hallway and you can hear buzzing. And she looks over and she just goes, Jesus, Kyle, Roman left a message. And he walks out and he's like, what? And I guess he's going to shave his whole body in this person's house.
Yeah.
Started with the eyebrows.
With just one eyebrow.
Yeah.
Like,
In somebody's
that's what it is.
kitchen bathroom with their
Yeah.
razor.
I thought he was going to come out with a shaved head and instead it was
Me
an
too.
eyebrow.
Yeah, I just didn't get this. This is a little bit over the top.
He's kind of lucky he's got that, like, scene hair because you can't really tell he's got one eyebrow and it's, like, down.
But it's the opposite one.
Yeah, he has to now comb his scene hair the other way.
Yep.
But I will say, too, he also has such fair, light hair that this doesn't read as well on screen because
Yeah.
he doesn't have super dark
Yeah.
eyebrows
Yeah.
anyway, you know?
It
How
takes
long's
a
an
second to
eyebrow?
realize.
How long does an eyebrow take to grow back, do you
A
think?
really long time. Like,
From
way more than if you
experience?
shaved your head. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that type of hair or where it is, but if you shave your eyebrow, it takes a really long time to grow back, and it's way, way slower than, like, any other body hair. That's why Whoopi
So-
Goldberg just stopped letting it grow in. She's been shaving her eyebrows for 40 years.
Well, you ain't kidding. Between 3 and 4 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a weird thing. I don't know why they are that way, but
The infamous Hasbro 123 kid on the card is a picture of the 123 kid and he has no eyebrows because they were shaved off on like a bus as a prank and it was right before he had to take his promo pictures. So if you ever look at his old Hasbro on card, look at the picture and it's him with no eyebrows.
I love the stuff that, like, nobody catches like that.
Yeah. And so anyways, from there we cut to Ron and he's in like the dining room area with the woman who owns the house and he's having her like sign all the papers after, but he's really just trying to have her like sneaky sign the feedback card that he pre-filled out for. And she's like, wait, aren't I supposed to fill this out? He's like, oh, well, I mean, I can get a new one. Like they're all the way in the van and just seeing if she's going to say, no, that's okay. But she doesn't. So it's like,
He holds
I'll-
out so long for
Yeah.
it, though.
Oh, all right, I'll get a new card. We cut to Kyle, who's obviously very upset, and he's talking to Constance. He's like pissed, and it's like that whole they're having the conversation. And it's like, well, it's just an eyebrow. Compares it to like she remembers when she was She was going to be one of the jumpsuit babies in Cannonball 2.
Cannonball Run 2 was the movie, though.
And right after her audition, she was hit by a car.
Which is funny because it's a movie about car racing. I don't know if you guys ever seen any of the Cannonball Run movies. There's 2 of them with Burt Reynolds. You have, yeah. They're amazing. It's a mix of it's a Mad World and Rat Race, but from the early 80s, and they're fucking amazing.
Or Wacky Racers.
Muttley.
And I really like this scene because I think it really goes back to how clever a lot of the writing was. So now they're all lined up outside, and Ron's paying them out the tips, and they're all getting $14 each, which by betting on themselves, they lost $6 ahead because they could have just all got a 20 each, but instead they're getting 14. Except for Henry, who's getting like 13 and change.
How do they not get more money at the bar? Again.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Henry got $13.36, which Ron had to go into his own pocket for that.
Hey, good on him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good boss.
I feel like he didn't take a cut either.
No. But
'Cause
also
he
makes sense, too,
knows
that...
he fucked up.
And Henry should get the smaller cut because he's the new guy, right? Like, if you're going to pay everybody out, if one guy's going to lose 74 cents, it's probably or whatever it is, it should be the 64 cents to be the new guy.
Yeah, but if he was a bartender, he's probably the one actually getting all the tips, too. Unless he got tips on the side. I don't know.
I'd like to think when he was taking some of those shots, he was putting a few dollar bills in his pocket.
Yeah. At least he got some free booze out of it to compensate. So yeah, so the show is over after this payout, but we get one quick ending scene. Henry's in the car with the woman from the party who we mentioned earlier was in a few episodes of The Office as a stripper. And she's just jerking him off and trying to get him to do the line from the commercial. And she's like, come on, please. He's like, no. And she just starts like really getting into it. It's a pretty, it's not graphic. You don't see anything, but it's, pretty accurate looking jerk off scene. And then he finally goes like, cause he's in a pretty good mood now. He goes, are we having fun yet? And then as soon as he did it, he lost his erection.
Yeah, he just goes flaccid in her hand.
And she's like, what happened? I really love how much he truly hates it, that even in that moment, by doing it one time, it's just fucking instant boner kill.
Yeah, it
Oh, I
causes
thought
him
he
to lose
came.
it. No, he
loses. He lost his boner.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he came.
Don't be gross.
Okay.
Goro, don't be so
Team
blue on
cum.
this podcast.
Team cummy tummy. Like,
What?
What?
What was that?
What's cummy tummy? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Are you referring to what
What are you
Ferg
doing?
said earlier? What did Ferg say earlier? Something.
Poopy cum?
Oh, God. All right, guys. I think it's time to wrap this one.
That's our next shirt, boys.
I'm really glad that in an episode about Party Down with all the topics, we found a way to go so lowbrow that even like the fandom for that show would go, what's wrong with these people?
Yeah, I wouldn't be friends with them.
So yeah, let's get into the green light or cancel. Nick, starting with you.
Yeah, this is a green light. I mean, it's a star-studded cast. It's really well written, really well executed. It definitely makes you want to come back for more and see. For me, I know Adam Scott is like the main, interest, but I am really more interested in where Ron's going, which is fine because I'm also interested in Adam Scott's character and what might happen with them. The whole cast is great. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really, really easy green light if you ask me. So yeah, green light.
Ferg.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. It's a pretty easy green light. It's a smart show. Everything that happens in that show happens for a reason and pays off later. And it's all very funny. Big ensemble cast, and you get to know basically who each and every one of them is, and that's not the easiest thing to do with a cast this big. Even the cameo cast members, you knew this bald guy's life without like seeing him a few times. Yeah, great show, great cast, green light.
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, there's no disagreeing with anything you guys just said. This is an amazing show. It's hard to put ensembles like this together and make it on a pilot where everybody is just funny, but it just shows how good the writing is. I brought up a few times, my favorite thing ever is the shirt roulette. They start from basically the first scene to the very last scene, and don't say anything about it and just keep juggling the shirts and just keep you going with it. Like, that kind of writing is so fucking great that you can also then balance the super blue lowbrow humor and keep it funny and not make it feel like the show's dragging down. I think I mentioned earlier I'd seen this all together probably 10 times or whatever. I imagine this will now be 11 because I'm just going to keep watching it. This is a great, like, once a year, really quick burn through that I feel like this is the rare show too, where the people on the show who who haven't seen it would maybe actually watch it. I might be wrong with that, but that's my impression. But green light.
Gordo.
So this is a soft green light from me. When I watching it, like about halfway through, I was like, all right, this is kind of humorous, but I don't see the appeal. And it wasn't until everything sort of started coming undone at the end that's when I started laughing. So it took a while, but it ultimately ended up winning me over because there's going to be a different party or a different situation in each episode. So what is the next party going to bring? So for that reason, green light.
Yeah, so I'm not rocking the boat on this one. This was an easy green light for me. It's weird because, we said this earlier. This was one of those shows that I've heard of a million times. I was aware of the cast. I knew I liked everyone on the cast. I was told by people who have similar, like, senses of humor to me, like, oh, it's a great show, you have to watch it. And I don't know what it was in my head that was like, I don't know if, like, I thought it was older than it was, or, like, the humor was going to be different. I don't know what it was, but I just had these, like, hang-ups where I had no desire to check it out. And I'm really glad we finally covered it because this is a show that I would like to watch the rest of. I know historically I'm very bad at doing that, but I would like to watch this show. I thought it was very funny. I thought the writing was really clever. Only hang-ups are, like I said, meeting characters in this episode that I wish I would see again, and I know I won't, is unfortunate, but overall, great show. Excited to see what, like, the future of it brings. Excited to, or not so much excited, but curious as to what a over decade-long gap will do to the show and see if it's, how different it is when they come back for season 3. So, would like to check that out. So, with all that in mind, that is a perfect 5 out of 5 for Party Down. Congratulations, you live on to see episode 2 with us. I want to thank all of you who listened. To anyone new, welcome aboard. To anyone who's been listening for a while, thanks for sticking along. Follow us on Instagram or X at S1E1Pod. Go to S1E1Pod.com. Follow the link so you can listen to us on our social medias. Again, if you want, leave us a 5-star review on Apple. If you can prove that to us and send us a link somewhere, we will follow you on Instagram, X, whatever you want. It's just kind of a way of saying thank you and kind of make it easier for us to interact with one another. But that's it. That's all the time we have this week. See you again next week for another new episode. Thank you. Goodbye.
I think we got the best their cheese, not our cheese.